Ooh, this is some shit. Oh,
And then here's some crispy sound.
that is really crispy.
We need Greg.
Greg Lincoln.
Yeah.
BD Mint. He's a champ. I was just talking to him last night. Well, messaging him.
So yeah, bit more advanced than when I spoke to you, old man.
Yeah. Did you not? Oh, I'm too close now.
It doesn't matter. Just...
Yeah. Was it off your phone then?
No, we were just basically on the computer.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It was good times.
So how does it all work? What's the plan? What are we going to do?
Let's talk, man.
All right, on.
Welcome to the podcast. You're rocking a cup of tea.
Gumboot.
Gumboot
tea.
at 8 p.m. Tim, you're a caffeine non-adapter.
I could have a cup of coffee and go to sleep. In fact, that's one of my favourite things to do some days. I'll have lunch, I'll have a cup of coffee, and then be just like, oh yeah. And then the kids are making a racket. I'm like, that's all right, I'm just going to go have a quick lie down. Gone.
But is this a 20-minute nap?
It can be if they wake me up. But if they let me ride, I could probably do 2 hours, 3 hours.
That's amazing.
If I've been training, if I've been doing some training, then I would, like when I was doing that, I'd just downtown for 3 hours, and then they're like, Tim, keep it out.
That's amazing. Because at uni we used to do the caffeine nap, and actually on Saturday night before going to Wilkinson, we got out the old 200 milligram caffeine tablets. They go well. But yeah, we used to pop one of those, have a 20-minute nap, and then go to the gym. Probably then would pop some pre-gym and go to the gym, and then get stuck on Simon Street in the traffic. And pre-gym's coming out your ears, and you just want to go lift weights.
I remember the times when it was coming in, all that, what was that, the MDMA and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
what was the one when it wasn't, and the government said you can have this one instead?
Oh, the old party pills.
Party pills, yeah, all that.
Yeah.
I don't really do that.
No, I did do those. They were a bad time. Yeah. I'm glad the government got rid of those.
Well, it's a good example of the government cocking it up, thinking that they can fix stuff, and they go make it worse.
And when you're a young uni student,
go
into a pendulum concert thinking you're doing the responsible thing.
Problem is I don't think pendulum was even cool when I was at university.
They were probably a death metal band when you were at university.
Yeah,
bit like Shapeshifter.
Oh yeah.
They've got roots in death metal.
Yeah, I remember hearing that Pendulum song that's so catchy.
Tarantula, probably.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first year of university. It was fantastic.
Yeah, my brother's years were right into that. I was like, this is pretty rad. But I was being a normal person.
Yeah.
Coming to the real world.
Come to the real world. So, mate, you had a similar optometry journey to me.
That is a most amazing parallel for us both. I think not many people tell that story, and I'm like, oh, that's the same story as me.
Well, you had a slight advantage.
Definitely.
You had a father, whereas I was 12 years ago. I was like, shit, that's cool.
Yeah. So for an emmetropic eyeball like yours with fantastic vision.
Well, it is now, and it was then.
Yeah, so what?
So
what was the catch?
I just saw my brother he'd had glasses since about 3.
Yeah.
I guess he had some childhood astigmatism that he grew out of. And then I was talking about it on the last one, and I was like, imagine Mum had just been like, oh no, just wait in the car, we'll be half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, who knows where life would be. But yeah, I was like, got to sit right beside the chair, and I was like right beside the slit lamp, and I was like, what are they doing? That's amazing. Yeah. His eyeball was glowing. And yeah, and then they were like, you don't need glasses anymore, son. And I was like, whoa. He's had glasses for like the last 6 years. How does that happen?
He just grew out of his astigmatism, you mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he had some muscle imbalance or something, or
well, yeah, that's
mild amblyopia developing, or potential, or
you haven't chased back his records to just do a bit of a.
No, they'll be on the old cards.
Yeah,
they've probably been thrown out now.
Oh, they might have been.
Yeah,
we keep all our old cards up on the upstairs
forever.
Almost. There was I think from all of the cards that just were simply not in use for like 20 years, and then they was taking up space upstairs, and so we were taking up space downstairs, and so we put them upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been upstairs for ages and ages, and then they finally met the shredder.
Did you work the card system?
Did I work it? Yep.
Yeah.
That was the days when I first started optometry, and there's so much I wanted to write on the card, and the previous history of optometry was evident for everybody to see. You know, they check the VAs, they check the refraction, they might write the ret down. That one line about how's it going, anterior, exterior, anterior, posterior, and a plan.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, they might write the diagnosis, but that would be lucky if you got that.
Prescription would be there though.
Oh yeah, just that. Like it was very much that early part of optometry where they really were just the spectacle makers, and then they grew into that clinician in front of the slit lamp and working out stuff. It was a bit more interesting, and you saw it change. But it meant that on the record card, I'd fill the record card up, and I'm like, oh damn, I've got to get another one. So I'd be constantly adding extra cards to mine, and because I wanted to write it neatly, because I'm not a great handwriter, I'm pretty scrawly at the best of times. But in those first 2 years, I was staying till like 7, 8 o'clock every night just to make sure I'd written the notes up carefully, written the notes up carefully, because I'd write them all on the pre-test form, frantically, and then at the end of the day, I'd write it up very cleanly and tidily
on the card.
Yeah, and so those are those days. And then at the same time, we were attempting to then double load it, so it was on the computer screen at the same time. And so I was writing carefully on the card, writing carefully on the computer screen, and then going back and loading old data from the previous exams on the record card, the loose leafs we called them, onto the computer systems from the previous appointments that were just loaded as script only, or even not even that loaded. So it added to the enrichment of the patient clinical data over time. And so then there was that slow fade out. Yeah. And then there was a special moment in time when we had patients that were loaded onto the system. And it says, you might have come across a couple. Yeah. No loose leaf for this patient. Yeah. And I was like, Jovers, what are we doing?
There's no hard copy.
What will we do when something goes wrong? So that was quite a weird thing. Yeah. This jacket's making a lot of ruffle.
Probably. I don't know if it'll come through. Yeah.
It might not.
Be interesting.
I can hear it in the headphones. Does that mean it'll be coming through?
Greg, what's the answer?
Yeah, Greg will know. Yeah, so that was a weird thing. It was quite cool, actually, in a way, to see that. Looking back now, I can say, I was there when we were actually moving, when I was just on record cards with a microscopic amount on vision, and then moving across. And it made quite a bit of difference to my time having to hang out at work with record loose leaves and all this sort of stuff. And, of course, one of the things you may not be aware of is hunting down where a loose leaf record is.
No.
So... You think Cluedo's tricky? No. There's more than the dining room. There's the whole multiple different job boxes in the workshop, whether it's in Waipaku or it's in Hastings, and whatever drawer it's in, on an Optom's desk. It's difficult to solve it sometimes, and you're hunting around trying to find out where it is, because you never chuck a loose leaf out.
So how did you book someone? Like, how did you know?
When I was there, when I started, the booking was on Vision, and so that's when you just used the appointment book on Vision. That was it. So I was never there when there wasn't an online or computer-based booking system. Yeah. But some people, as of 4 or 5 years ago, were still just using Vision software for appointment book only, and not anything to do with clinical data.
It's a bloody beautiful thing that you're like 2 generations of optometrists, because like your dad started when it was School of Psychology, come through the optometry program, and then you come through the optometry program on the cutting edge of therapeutics. Had to go back and freaking get the certificate for it.
A heartbreak moment when there was
like you said, you wanted to write everything down because you had been trained in this thing.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of anger towards one particular professor who I won't name. I shouldn't name it. No, one particular professor who had no care that in our final year we'd studied alongside the previous year, the year behind us. We studied alongside them in all the therapeutics lectures. We did all the groundwork for it, and then all we needed to do was 50 hours clinical time with an ophthalmologist to get what they'd got in their final year. And so instead of enabling those students of our class to do exactly that, because we were on the cusp, they said, nah, in another year or 2 we'll run the postgrad course. I'm like, oh, okay. So a year or 2 after I graduated, I had to go back for 2 years of postgraduate study in ocular therapeutics. That's 781 or 7, where it is. It's horrible.
And so did that year behind you graduate with therapeutics?
Yeah, so within a year, they'd come out with therapeutics writing scripts. And 3 years later, I was doing it. It's like, that's not very fair. But in going back and doing therapeutics, it solidified that knowledge deeper and gave me a really good confidence to move forward with therapeutics in my daily practice and just grow up from there. And it was good in a way. But I did lose my 26th and 27th year of my life. And I think on my 28th birthday, I actually made Lisa like 26 on the top of the cake because I felt I lost 2 years. Because I was at work, and if I wasn't at work, I was studying at home. I wasn't studying at home, I was staying late at work. It was just a painful time. And she stuck with me. She's amazing.
Yeah, still married.
Oh my God. She's amazing.
Yeah. No, that's, like I've said about it before, when me going through therapeutics, I had to wallpaper my wall with drug names, interactions, what the drug type is called, category of drug, because it just wouldn't stick. And we had all the rest of the year going on, so like it must have been from that perspective, it might have been a little better. But you were also trying to go through those early years of being an optometrist, being a practitioner. Yeah,
like it was a different stress of stuff, you know. I think that in our final year, they took out the business management or business aspect of optometry.
Well, that'd be handy.
Well, I think it's really important, and a lot of optometrists don't have it. And
we definitely don't have it.
And it's not like they said, "Oh, you have to."
It's bedtime.
They don't have to do a prerequisite in business. I mean, I would have thought if you're going into optometry as a prerequisite year, they should make you do an economics or business paper.
Be handy.
As English linguistics, can't say that was that helpful.
Was that
prerequisite? In the intermediate year, they made me do. Of course, shortly after I completed it and got into it, they said, "You're not making that a part of the prerequisite anymore."
I didn't even need sim form English. It was fantastic.
Yeah, well, you're a rugby player though, weren't you?
Not then. I was a football player.
All right.
Football, water polo, volleyball.
Everything else.
Yeah, everything else. Oh, someone's beeping at us. That's not good. What does that say? Oh.
Looks like we're recording stuff.
We'll carry on. Can always fill in the gap. Maybe we blew a fuse, don't know.
So when you're going through high school, did you have a pretty clear goal in your mind? Was it like rock solid for you?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I just played sports.
Mm-hmm.
Made sure I passed. Had my dad who had, taught sixth form and bursary physics for 20 years being like, "Have you got a lab to write up?" I was like, "No."
No lab?
No lab. I know. And my brother was...
You didn't do physics? You did physics?
Yeah, I did physics.
Well, how come no lab?
It was NCA, man.
Ah,
it was a different world.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, my brother had done bursary sixth form certificate, and yeah, he had homework all the time. Me and my younger brother talked about it. It was like he had homework all the time.
Yeah.
And we did NCA, and it was just...
Not homework all the time. I have done so much homework. The hours
That's
that
probably
I
a good
didn't
thing.
Spend. Well, it probably was. I mean,
went to university and thought, "Oh yeah, I'll do what I did at school." No.
Fail. Yeah.
Well, it didn't quite. It was 50%, but for 40% of the paper, it was not helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like, but learning university is a skill in itself. Like, I just look at my grade point averages I was going through. I was like, oh, I was woeful at the start, and then finishing on A pluses to finish. I was like, oh, I worked out how to do it in the end.
Nice.
I remember those final years. Starting studying at 9 o'clock in the morning and finishing studying at midnight. Like you just get into the groove of just pumping all day long. I mean, you'd have dinner and you'd go for a half an hour walk around the block or something. But I just remember just drilling it. I had a pretty clear goal though. I was like, I'm getting this done.
Yeah. I definitely had a clear goal. Trying to get in postgrad was interesting. That was an interesting moment.
Oh, yeah, you did it a bit longer way, eh? Well, not longer, but just a different way.
That was longer. Two more years. But yeah. It was like, waited till Waitangi Day before they let me know that, no, not enough people had pulled out, so pick something else to do.
That's a bit stink.
So I had like a week, and then I was in Dunedin, living on my mate's couch. It was good times. Character building.
And so, yeah. Well,
watching Anchorman and Superbad
brilliant.
Each day.
So you memorised the script for that?
We did, yeah. It was fantastic. And yeah, it was like, you know, you go there and you're kind of like, well, what do I even do here? I just carried on doing biomedical science.
Yeah.
I was like, I liked the reproduction papers, or the human body systems papers.
Yeah.
Well, look at something like that. And they delightfully married that with genetics. And so it was like this really good anatomy side of things, and then this really hard foreign language that apparently is how we're all put together.
Yeah.
And then the third year they said, you did well in anatomy. Do you want to go into the pre-honors for that? And I was like, well, I guess that'd be a good thing to do, seeing as my plan is to go and do optometry, and that was really hard. So
yeah,
I did that. Started working at the Cook. That saved. Didn't save on sleep, but it saved on the amount of drinking.
Well, you're serving it rather than drinking it, yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't even do that. I was just standing around inside, making sure fresh students didn't get into fights.
Oh, you're being a bouncer?
Sort of. It was called that, or just security.
Yeah. Just security.
Yeah, I was just standing there.
We're going to get up with newbies, first years. They're going to start something.
Yeah. Well, just, make sure they're not too drunk.
Yeah.
Move them on.
Move them on make them not our problem. Yeah, right. That's good.
It was only got to be our problem one time. And I'm pretty sure that was the fault of the staff that weren't working.
Is the Cook the one that got shut down? Or?
Yeah, they all got shut down.
I know.
Different place now. Dunedin. Did you ever go visit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, I always remember arriving in the dark and leaving in the dark. Like, literally. We went to a couple of parties there, and it was like, we got here, it was dark, we did the party, and then got up and left. It was still dark. It's like, did they even get sun?
It gets pretty depressing. But then Auckland rains.
The humidity's miserable.
So
I just hated it.
When I moved back to Auckland, I put some sheets on the line once.
Oh yeah? How many months did it take to dry?
I think I pulled them in and just...
The trick is to don't worry about getting them fully dry. Get them on the bed and warm them up yourself. Like, I mean, we had ears everywhere. I was just...
Oh yeah, that, like, you can't hang dry them inside because it's too humid.
I bought my first dryer in November. Like in Auckland. And I was, in our second flat? I was my third year at uni. At the end of my third year at uni, I bought a dryer.
Mm.
We just finished exams. I bought a dryer in summer. I was like an electric, tumble dryer. And I said, okay, boys, I'm going away for the summer. I'm going back to Hawke's Bay, but here's the dryer.
Mm.
That's when I bought it. Because you still needed it up there sometimes. It wasn't so bad in the middle of summer, but very annoying.
Where was your flat? Did you move around or stay in one place?
I tried to do a bit of both, really. So O'Rourke Hall for first year, and then Whittaker Flats for second year, and then I had a spot up in Parnell. We were in the Gentleman's Villa. It was cool. We were there for 2 or 3 years. That was great fun.
Is that one of these like 20 people places or
4 of us?
That's not too bad. Then.
Wow, it was quite interesting because we downstairs was you know how Parnell's got that slanty bit, how people have got funny houses on angles all the time. So at the street level was you walk up a couple of steps into our flat, and then below the house was another lady living there. She was dragging. She's crazy. She's an alcoholic, and she's actually
how does that go? Being
Sir
students,
Charles, do you know Sir Charles Upham?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but you know of him.
I've heard of him.
His daughter.
Oh right.
Yeah, Amanda. She was crazy.
So did she like tell on you, or it was fine?
She was cut most of the time. Like wasn't great, and she occasionally got a bit pissed off when we come home at 2:00 in the morning and do a haka for the rugby. There's like 30 guys in our lounge doing a haka at 2:00 in the morning.
Is this classic university where you've got Sky?
Oh yeah, we had Sky. I wasn't even that big a sport nut, but the boys I was with, they're like, we're having Sky. We got chip in for Sky. I was like, I'll put it Sky.
And they gave you a great deal too.
We got movies, which I was more interested in. I was like, give me the movies. So that was good.
As you sit here in your Star Wars top.
Yeah. Well, this is actually a bit of a trick, though.
No, Star Trek.
But it's that trick, isn't it? Because it looks like Star Wars, but it says Star Trek. So it's quite funny.
It's controversial.
It's supposed to be a little bit of a niggle thing. So people go, "Oh, you like Star Trek?" Or "I'm into that Star Wars thing." And some people don't know what they're talking about, and they're like, "Oh, yep." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So you're a Trekker, are you? Like, what? No, Star Wars. Oh, okay, great.
I'm probably more of a Star Wars person, but I'm not against Star Trek either.
Yeah, well, Star Wars is definitely a bit more of a nice story that's familiar. lots of people, whereas Star Trek has that, I don't know, there's not always the same characters, they keep changing. And for some people who like a story with a very defined hero that rolls through most of it, it's a cleaner story with Star Wars in that way. I mean, Star Wars is a massive universe when you really get into it, but Star Trek is constantly changing, you know. It's not always Jean-Luc Picard, it's not always Captain Kirk and all the rest of it.
Yeah, what's his name?
William Shatner.
Did you like Boston Legal with William Shatner?
Outstanding. One of my favourite legal
Couldn't make
shows.
that anymore.
I mean, Suits is good, but I think that. What was his name again? It would shake everyone's hands and be like, "Oh, damn, I can't remember his name. Totally gone." But in the end, his cell phone would pop up, and like little things like that all the way.
You watched it more than me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Boston Legal. What was it? Oh, it's on the tip of my head. It's going to come back in 20 minutes. I'll remember it.
You'll wake up tonight with it.
2 o'clock.
No, you won't wake up.
Be dull. Yeah.
You'll be out to it.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about Origins for Star Trek, or is that like all some of the new stuff? Have they gone back further than episode 1, 2, and 3?
The recent reboot with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto as the two main characters of Captain Kirk and Spock.
Oh, this is Trek.
Star Trek, yeah, phenomenal reboot. Like totally brought me into Star Trek deeper than I've ever been before.
I think I did watch that.
Very good. The funniest thing was it was the Star Trek movie with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto, and sorry, I lost the other character's name. And anyway, but that movie was the first movie we watched after we had our first baby, Martin. After he was out, it was our first, like 3 months old, and Lisa's dad comes up and looks after the kids. You guys got a movie? Oh, yeah, we're going to go Star Trek, check it out. And we're like, oh, it's the first time we've had a baby, what do we do? And I was like, oh, he'll be right, Lisa, because I've been
3 hours.
Yeah, it was a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I go to work every day, it'll be fine. And Lisa's dad's like, oh, yeah, we're right, I'll just walk around the block. And so we go after this movie, and the opening scene is like the story. I don't know, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but the opening scene of Star Trek with Chris Pine is the guy who's Chris Pine's dad. I think it's Liam Hemsworth or Chris Hemsworth, one of the two. I forget which. Sorry, he's the dad, and he ends up saving the whole ship and sending his wife off on an escape pod. She's literally having birth in the middle of this moment where the main ship's getting destroyed by this giant, great big ship. And they're trying to name the child while he's holding, because the automatic pilot goes down, he's got to save the ship, he's driving the ship. And they're talking about, what's the name of the child going to be? It's a boy, blah, blah, blah. I'll call him, should we call him after your dad? No, Tiberius is horrible. Go with James, after your father. So James Tiberius. And then all of a sudden he dies, crash, bang, and then the wife carries on. And then that's the preamble before the credits would roll at the start. It's like an intense 7-8 minute sequence where your heart's pumping. And we've just had our first baby. And so we're crying and it's all, oh, jeez, this is a bit intense. And so they got us emotionally locked in real early in the movie. And I was like, oh my God, I'm totally hooked. And then they rip straight into Sabotage by the Beastie Boys as it rolls into the next section of the movie with James T. Kirk as a young kid stealing a motorbike. Oh, stealing a car. It was fantastic. Great movie. Love that movie.
Yeah. No, I was talking about the Star Wars.
Yeah, I got that, but I carried on with that other line.
I like that. I did actually watch that movie.
Which one?
The Trek.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. Yeah. Now, Star Wars is great.
Has Star Wars gone back before 1, 2, and 3 now?
Yeah, there's some other bits flying around about Han Solo and bits and pieces. I think they might have been sort of in between 3 and 4. So there's the birth of the whole situation with Han Solo and
stuff.
Yeah, and the whole Rogue One thing and how they got the plans for the Death Star and all that stuff. And then there's the whole there's some other cool stuff like the Mandalorian. Oh, they're just having a field day, mate. They're just like, what else prints money? This does. Anything with Star Wars in the front prints money. And we own all the rights.
Spielberg, right? No,
Lucas.
Yeah, Lucasfilm. Yeah. Go to that.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Skywalker Ranch and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Man. And does he get any royalties from this, or
who?
Lucas.
I bet he's making.
Hope so. Like, wrote a good story. Or made a good movie product.
He just doesn't have to worry about money. He just makes the coolest thing he wants. It's pretty cool. And that's the idea, right? I mean, you don't have enough coins, so you just do whatever you want. So
I know. Hopefully, this gets big enough. I can ask him.
Yeah, well, you can ask him. You say, what's the trick? And he'll say, Come up with a really cool idea no one else has done before and just stick to your guns on it.
Stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lightsabers, whatever it is.
Laser guns.
I mean, we use lightsabers for every single pinata for the kid's birthday.
Mm.
And we're pretty deep into Star Wars.
Ones that glow up.
They used to, but not after you smash pinatas for a while.
Did they make noises?
They used to, but not after you smash pinatas for a while. Yeah, there's some good ones. There's lightsaber clubs, like in Palmer. You can go to a lightsaber club and do lightsaber fighting with lightsabers that light up, make the sounds, and the whole shooting match. Yeah. Big things.
Did you know there's LARPing out towards past Rissington?
What's LARPing?
Live action role play.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So often when I'm driving back on a Sunday from being in the bush, out that ways, go past this place and there's some dudes having a sword and axe fight with shields.
Wow.
I'm like
cool. Crusade style.
Yeah, I guess that time. Yeah.
Huh.
And went to the medieval fair at the Steiner School in Hamilton a few weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bit of LARPing going on there too, as you'd expect. Yeah.
So it sounds like they've changed it from cosplay to LARPing.
But isn't cosplay more like comic book characters?
I don't know if there's any hard rules about anything anymore.
Yeah, no, there's not.
There's a lot of grey.
Could be a fox.
Yeah, you could do whatever you like, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
I mean, don't knock it till you try it. I mean, like, you guys got the Stag here. And funny you should say that, actually. I noticed that when I came in, my stag do, the boys made a stag hat like that. And I can't have been the first. I was the second bunch of my mates to get married. And they had the stag hat. And I wore it all day long. Like, we just taped it on. It was built into an old bicycle helmet, so I had a strap on. So I wore that the whole day. End of the day, one of the boys tried it on their neck for 5 minutes. I got a sore neck.
You're like, man,
Toughen up.
Need that iron mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of that resilience training, isn't it? But it's bloody dangerous. You can poke an eyeball out with those things. But
Yeah.
we did all sorts of fun stuff with it. It was great. And it got used at every stag do
That's good idea.
for a period of time. The stag doos that went into town, there was a little bit more scary going for various places. And
Should have gone to Chicago.
it broke eventually. I think they had to make another one.
Yeah. Now there's a whole terrace of those usually at Southland Rugby games.
Really?
Mm.
Jeez, that must be pretty dangerous if everyone's on it, head backing and necking things back and poking the guy behind you.
Probably.
Just
That's probably happened. You'd imagine.
safety eyewear.
Yeah.
So that's the Southland Stag hat helmet that people put on and get going. Go to the race as well.
That's my one. Yeah.
Oh.
I got those antlers from my mate's dad. They have a small venison farm, and yeah, so
Well, that's the goal for you, eh? Have some fun.
yeah, venison farm to table restaurant.
Yeah.
Be beautiful.
Yeah.
Just rolling hills, beautiful animals.
And so, I mean, you're keen on optometry, but what about just cutting loose and just doing...
So I've been told it's not economically a good idea.
Well, that's because the dreamy bits aren't, the fun bits. The bits we do for nothing.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Tim, but it's pretty fascinating and wonderful and interesting way to spend your days.
Well, optometry? Oh, every day's different.
Yeah.
I've never had the day the same. And I get to the end of the day and I'm wrecked.
Because you've been solving problems all day.
My brain is used up. Like, I've used my words as well. I mean, as guys, we speak less. Like, by a couple of... The magnitude of, like, tens of thousands of words less than the chicks. And
I don't know about you. You probably speak a bit more.
I might speak a bit more, I'll be honest. I do. But I still use all of them.
All of them up, yeah.
And then I come home and I'm just got nothing. I've got less. So I'm always in trouble with Lisa because she's... You're a burned out husk. All I get the leftovers.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I've got to work on that.
Yeah, and you're probably using up all your empathy, all your listening skills, all your talking skills, all your explanation skills, all your problem solving skills.
Yeah, like you burn some of that juice, and so that's just the years of practice that you get good at having a little bit left over, keeping a little bit left over, and keeping going.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at it now, but I don't always get it right.
Yeah. Now it's been fun being the new guy because I get all the mystery headaches.
Oh yeah, you get the walk-ins, you get the randoms. Feel like Ryan's book. Yeah,
it's exciting. Yeah,
I remember that because that was what it was like for me when I first started. Because Mark and Phil were busy seeing their patients, and I was seeing weren't theirs or couldn't foresee them. But I hadn't really built my own sort of, I don't know if you call it a following, but you book up,
Yeah.
And the way you do that is by solving all the working problems. So you solve all those people's problems and they go, wow, you fixed me. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we do. And I reckon you come back in 2 years' time. So when you start being there for 2 or 3 years, then you start seeing people coming back. And I say it to people quite often, if you want instant gratification, this is not the profession for you. You have to be so patient because it takes 2 or 3 years for optometry for your familiar routine patients to come back and they say, I don't know what you did with that last pair, Tim, but it's the best pair of glasses I've ever had. Or, oh my gosh, those contact lenses you fitted me were just, oh my God.
Still wearing them.
They're great, they're fantastic. Or, oh my gosh, you fixed my eye, it was bleeding or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, no, cool. And so I always say it's tricky because whenever you get it right, they don't come back for 3 years. And the moment you get it wrong, they're in 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So then you have to deal with that immediate. The opposite of instant gratification. What's the opposite of that?
It's like YouTube comments.
Oh, they're the best. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of YouTube videos that have got some of the best comment streams I've ever seen. What's that one where there's a bunch of kids trying to trick their dads to do some funny trick, and the dads are smarter than them, and then you've seen those ones?
No.
Oh,
YouTube's a big place.
that's a massive place. It's the universe. It's bigger than most universes. But these the kids are trying to trick the dads about how to try to get a $10 note out from underneath the cup and without touching the cup and all this, and not moving anything. And these dads that come and go, oh yeah, well, what's the game again? Whip it out, and they're tricking. And you're not supposed to do that, Dad. And all the comments are coming in like the dad's like, all the comments are kind of like, what's that? When people go, your mama's so fat. When she gets around the house, she has to walk around the house, and all the mama jokes. And I don't even know if you're allowed to do those. You probably can. You should be able to do those. If you're not, you should be able to do those jokes. And what's that one? It's not.
If they're on the YouTube comments, I suppose.
It's not Bruce Lee. It's oh my God, my brain's exhausted.
Jackie Chan.
No. Chuck Norris. All the Chuck Norris jokes.
I like those.
That's great. And so they they were a new version of Chuck Norris, and it was all just the dad is this and dad doesn't get a paycheck, the paycheck pays him, all that sort of stuff. It was just gold on every time. A couple of real winning videos with like 100% awesome comments. Mostly it's just disease and badness that you don't want to go down.
Or just ads for other things. And
Your YouTube's a freaky place, man. Which is this going out on YouTube? How does this get out to people?
Yeah, put it on YouTube. Audio gets uploaded to a thing called Anchor.
Okay.
Which is owned by Spotify.
Okay.
So yet another thing Spotify doesn't have to pay for.
So does that mean it's a podcast on Spotify as well?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, whatever they're called, Google Play.
Okay, a lot of different
Podbean
platforms.
Pocket Cast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, who would have thought there's so many platforms?
There are many platforms, and that is good, because a lot of the big ones, YouTube's a big one. It's a lot of censoring of information, a lot of censoring people's views, and if anyone says anything that's against the owners, and they're like, cut that right out of there.
Yeah, I wonder
it's not good.
Wonder what sort of volume that they need before they see it or it gets flagged or.
Yeah. Well, if the content creators are frustrated by not getting the reasonable exposure that they should for new content, just because of what they're talking about is a bit edgy or against the particular political views of the owners, and they get cut, a couple of things will happen. They'll either stop making content, or they'll go somewhere else. So if they go somewhere else, they lose the business. Maybe that's a good thing. I mean, I personally support that. That's competitive capitalism. I'm a big fan of that.
But yeah, there's not really another platform. That's the downside to it.
Of YouTube? Yeah. Oh, there are things like the Rumble and I can't even name them all. There's a whole stack of them.
Yeah, Vimeo, that's one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were just there first, and they got there biggest, quickest.
First mover.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's the old parlor thing was interesting that you can be make your own thing. Go make your own thing. Yeah. We did. It got shut down.
They shut our servers down. Like, talk about going
Like,
They're
just make your own
grassroots
thing.
issues.
Guess you have to make your own internet.
You have to make your own internet, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But then who's going to go on it? If not, man. I'm glad it's not my problem.
Yeah. Like I made.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe the lack of free speech and lack of free thought is a bad thing.
We live in New Zealand. We don't have that as a right.
What right?
Free speech.
Yeah, well, that's
we have the
Bill of Rights.
No, International Human Rights.
You keep up to speed with old Jacinda's hate speech stuff?
No.
Do you want to get out of there?
No.
No, don't get out.
Even if I saw that headline, I couldn't read it. I don't know.
I mean, the fundamental problem
I scroll stuff and go, do I want to engage my energy in that?
Yeah, well,
And usually, sometimes the politics I do. I finally read a climate change article on stuff the other day. Well done, stuff. Finally got me to read one of the climate change articles. It was good because it was some science.
Did they pay you to read it?
No, and I didn't pay them either.
I'm sure the journalistic qualities are fantastic.
No, it was actually some science. So, like,
Ooh.
since
Dazzle me with some science.
Since 1971, they've been flying over the glaciers and taking photos, and they've been checking out the length of them. So they go over.
Cheers.
They go over the glacier at the start of summer when it's just a.
It's orange is my favourite colour. Nailed it.
Yeah, they go over the summer the glacier at the start of summer, and they look at the features, its width and depth and length, and then they've been comparing it since 1971, and so they've got comparable data on where the glaciers in like a multitude of glaciers in New Zealand have gone. Excuse me. And most of them have retreated. Funnily enough, it's got warmer. Yeah. So again, it's still only a symptom of a warmer climate, and it gets linked to the human intervention. But yeah, it's still. I'm not smart enough to know.
Yeah, neither am I.
Yeah. Some people say the greening.
Yeah, I mean, we've just been on the planet aware of what's going on for such a little length of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do all these cool samples, but they're not always right. And I don't know.
We've got some satellites now. That was the other thing they brought up. That in 1971, I think, and they might have had some photos from earlier than that. There was no satellites, and now they can look at satellite imagery of these things, and same with the greening thing. Like, we can look at the planet as a whole. What does it look like? What was brown, now it's green, or relative to 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, I think we're all getting more efficient in what we do, which is great. But the big polluters, the likes of India and China, they're still going flat, and they're not slowing down.
They're still growing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
is it a bit like trying to get? That's what I was listening to today. Is Sebastian Younger? He's a thoughtful gentleman. Was talking about how throughout history, and again, we're now in a different time in history, but throughout history, the biggest empires have had the greatest disparity of wealth. So I think he said it's called the Gini number, which is some Italian economist speaking of doing economics. And yeah, so the trend is often that to be a successful dominant power, you need to have this accumulation of wealth, accumulation of resources, and then so Sebastian Younger's new book is on freedom, and one of those things is like outthinking, out strengthening, and outrunning your oppositions. And
it's the Sun Tzu, the art of war all over it, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I always say that there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
We just rediscover all these things. Like, oh, look at this, we've just found this thing, and this is what I reckon works. Yeah, well, look at that. They've been saying that for 200 years. I mean, longer. Sun Tzu's probably like 1,000 years. I don't know. Don't quote me on Sun Tzu.
He's buzzy dude. I think I wrote a Sun Tzu quote today, maybe.
They said, the richest man in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
That whole story. It's just from the ages past, If you learn how to control your money, it won't control you. It's that whole, what is it? It's not do not touch. It's the pay yourself. Mind to keep. The richest man in Babylon. You heard that one?
No.
Oh, it's a great podcast. It's probably a CD. I forget how long it is. Probably like an hour long. Probably an hour, like 40. I don't even know. Don't quote me. Just check it out. It's really good, sensible stuff. Just mind to keep and use that to grow your wealth. I mean, if you learn how to be a rich person, thinking rich ways and making your money work for you, you don't have to be on $1 million salary to get good results. In fact, sometimes when you're on $1 million salary, that actually creates way more problems. If you don't have that financial intelligence to take the right steps, then I often talk about the whole, if your emotional intelligence is not up with your financial intelligence, you lose. It's that Britney Spears effect, you know. She's talented enough to get loaded, but not smart enough to grow her personal development journey to cope with the massive difficulty she has being a celebrity and all the money. So she crumbles. But the celebrities
who's the rapper? My money, my problems.
Yeah, I mean, like the likes of people who, you can see it too, like the smart folks who've recognised that they need to develop themselves continually, and then they keep a hold of their wealth, you know.
It's also,
That's why the rich always get richer, because they keep doing the same things. And the poor always get poorer because they keep doing the wrong things. And if they keep doing the wrong things, and then you suddenly give them a whole stack of cash, they'll do the wrong thing with it because they haven't learned how to deal with it. So it's that financial education, and that's a massive thing we're missing in school. Big time.
Well, as you said, in optometry, you'd think you'd learn how to run a business.
Yeah, because otherwise they're turning out clinicians who don't have the skills to understand the problems in front of them to take them to the next level. You know, that's what we want. And then they have to. Then they get guided down a path of, oh, I just need to be a clinician, and I'm not going to be a business owner because I'll just always be a clinician. But then they don't realise that some of the more challenging parts of optometry is being a business. That's some of the fun part, you know. It's more exhausting sometimes because it's always different. It's a different battle, but got to grow those skills.
So if we're not, I think
I just glazed over a whole lot of topics there.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. So like we're talking about that, controlling your mind, controlling yourself, or being aware of yourself, having some emotional intelligence around your position in life. It's probably working within your means type thing, and not putting your happiness out in front of you. So you need some sort of thing to drive yourself towards, but at the same time you've got to find internal happiness in your current position, knowing that you're moving towards something.
I agree.
Yeah,
being present in the moment and recognizing this is a good moment. This is great. I mean, look at this. We've got lights, we've got beer. You don't actually need much more.
You don't even need beer.
Well, okay, that's probably
it's true. A lubricant.
Even light. I mean, we probably had enough light for today, you know. The moon's out. We don't even need the lights on.
Cracker.
Blood moon.
Blood moon. Best thing I saw today is a slice of what is it? Probably chorizo, and it just looks like the blood moon.
Blood moon. Awesome. Yeah, we get a different man on the moon down here, right? It doesn't look right. Yeah. All the people go, oh, that doesn't look right. I'm like, oh, that's the man I've always been used to.
Yeah.
Same guy up there.
Well, it was interesting talking to Professor Nix, who lives in South Africa. And I said to him, what's your North Star? And he goes, oh, that's interesting. We've got the Southern Cross down here. I was like, yeah, me too. That's such an American saying, your North Star. But then Southern Cross takes a little bit more skill, because you've got to, identify the limbs and then the pointers. And
don't get tricked by the false cross.
Yeah, don't get tricked by the false cross.
Yeah, amateur mistake.
You
need the pointers, don't you?
Yeah, the Southern Cross is beside the pointers, and then you use the limb and the pointers to guide yourself to the South Point.
Luckily, I've never been lost at sea in the night.
What a weird thought, eh? Like, navigating around the world, catch the end and the start of the day so you know where you're going.
Bizarre.
And try to hold that heading in a vast ocean.
With a compass. And the sun.
And a sextant.
And a team of people. And that's the other thing too. You don't have to be the only. Well, okay. Tom Hanks did in Castaway.
Wilson!
Yeah, totally. He did. But I mean, he was a bit lucky in the end, wasn't he, really? I mean, it's just not a real story. But Moana, now there's a real story, you know.
Great myth.
Great. Well, I mean, just the whole plotting with the sun and the stars.
Maui just like stuck his hand in the water and was like, we're going that way. I was like,
Well, he sensed the currents. I mean, that's a bit unfair.
yeah.
I don't think you can do
He's the demigod.
That's true. I do a bit of ocean swimming though, so I can sense some currents. I'm in a wetsuit.
Yeah.
I can sense some currents.
How's swimming in Napier Harbour, by the way? Oily?
It's not oily.
No?
No, it's salty, but that's to be expected.
Or the whales.
It can be more salty some days than others.
That's bizarre.
I mean, honestly, every time you swim, it's different. It's the most marvellous thing. I really didn't... The whole open water swimming was not something I expected to be such a paradigm shift for me. Like, I'm now an open water swimmer. Like, if
you could do that solely.
Yeah, like if I could do that solely. If I travel now, I'm taking my wetsuit just in case there's a lake or there's an ocean thing I can go for a swim, because I can go and do that and it's awesome. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. So cool. Like, it's the most amazing thing. And the lake swimming, I don't know if you've ever swum in the lake with a wetsuit, but oh my god.
Not with a wetsuit, but definitely swim in lakes.
Yeah, you paddle in the lake, but I'm talking like actual swimming. And you can see stuff, and like there's the mountains, and there's the water, and you can see through the water. Lake swimming is beautiful because you can see.
It freaks me out.
But ocean's water, you can't. You can only see your hand if you're lucky.
So that's like one of my irrational fears.
What's that?
Open water swimming. And
I don't think it's irrational.
But I'm a good swimmer, so
yeah,
so it's irrational.
No, but I don't think it's that you can't swim that your fear is. It's that
it's so fucking deep. You're like, whoa.
It's deep. You can't see it, and things are there.
But
it's something.
Not. It's just trout.
Well, I mean, in the lake, it's not so bad.
Yeah, ocean would be worse.
It's a bit. Yeah. People go, oh, what about all the sharks? I'm like, what sharks? Never seen a shark. Oh, but these big sharks, and they come in to eat you. I'm like, most of the sharks are not interested in me.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaws level sharks, they're probably not even interested in me either.
Yeah.
Like, really. And I'd taste like rubber for the first few bites. Like, this isn't working. Yeah,
you watch Bondi Rescue, and they get the drone up, and they're like, "Oh, look at all those sharks."
Yeah, I mean, they're a little bit more comfortable with sharks than I am. But I mean, if there's sharks in the water, I'm not going to. If I can see the sharks, I'm not going in. Mm. This is the tiger shark, of course. You know, they're not too scary.
You got to watch out for them bull sharks.
I don't really know what they are, but
they're the niggly ones. Yeah, that's apparently what Jaws was based on. Bull sharks going up the river. Oh, yeah. There was a bull shark up in one of the Rotorua lakes at one point a couple of years ago.
Is that right?
It's like, that's ridiculous. Because they can swim up fresh water.
Well, that's not fair, because that's really changing where the boundaries are.
I'd say.
It's like, excuse me, you're a saltfish. You go over there.
Well, that was in Ballina. They used to come up the river. That was why you didn't really go swimming up the river.
Well, maybe it was just a salty river, you know.
Or the prawns.
Maybe. Even, I mean, I think ocean swimming is a pretty amazing thing. I went for a swim a couple of weekends back. I got smashed.
Yeah.
Like, really, you come out quite discombobulated. You're not ready to be flat and straight. Suddenly you're like, what?
Have you ever had a evening ocean swim and then tried to light out?
No. It's usually always first thing in the morning. 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
Also, then how's sitting down? Do you mope along a little bit?
No.
So it hasn't given you a semi, not vertigo, but...
Oh, the discombobulated, wasted feeling. Yeah. Oh, you get that. When you're getting smashed around, you get that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
But like when you get out, is it quick to ground or no?
What's your definition of quick? Like 10 seconds? That's quick. I'd probably feel a bit wasted for 5-10 minutes after.
Yes, that's not quick. That's enough to got to compose yourself.
Well, it depends how smashed up you're getting, you know. So sometimes you walk out and you're fine straight away. Sometimes you walk out and you just go, by the time you've got your wetsuit off, you're okay. But other times you're sitting in the car driving home going, well, I just got smashed. I mean, I'm sure it's like a game of rugby when you're having a game where you barely got tackled.
Not me, mate. What are you doing with the champions? Nah.
Or an AFL match then. Okay, so when you're doing an AFL game, so some days you might not get many tackles, and then other days you'll just be getting pumped. And you come off and you're like, well, this is a tougher day.
I forgot you played AFL. How did AFL come into your life? What a great sport. I
think it's one of the best sports in the world.
Do you know that the Americans all of a sudden have found AFL and they're so confused, but they're like, this is kind of cool. It is one of those sports where you first watch it and you go, this is ridiculous.
You can't watch it. You
need some education.
Yeah, I agree. And you totally do. Like, if you haven't seen it in a field of play, that what you're seeing on the TV doesn't make sense.
No.
Like whereas you can watch a game of rugby and like I can make sense of this, but on AFL you need multi points of viewing to see.
And then the whistle goes off. You're like, why did the whistle go off? I think that's the biggest thing. Understand why the whistle goes off.
Usually because someone's holding on to it too long.
Yes, they'll be tackled to the ground holding the ball.
Yeah, they'll let it hold the ball.
Or you've tackled them
too high.
Too high, yes, and too low around the ankles.
I guess so, but that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. No one's grass cutting anyone in AFL.
Well, I think they are, but it just doesn't happen as much. I think it's legal too. It's all about protecting the ball holder.
Yeah.
I am not an encyclopedic referral point for AFL rules, but I just love the game.
You just played it and said, come on, ref.
I think it was Bernie McIntyre and his brother. His brother got exposed to it with one of his mates, and they said, come play. And then all of a sudden, the whole flat was playing.
Were they Wellingtonians?
No. Hawke's Bay guys, we went up to Auckland.
Mm.
There's been a league running since 1974 in Auckland, Christchurch, and Wellington.
Mm.
And they just, I mean, most in each of the leagues, I think they've got 4 clubs. 4 clubs, and so we're Mount Roskill Saints, the Sainers. So they copied the colour and the branding of various teams, but just put a different name on.
Have you seen Funny People with Adam Sandler? Damn, no.
Sorry. I did actually watch some Adam Sandler just the other night, actually, on Netflix. I was watching a bit of 50 First Dates. Do you remember that one? That's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's good, dude.
So
and Happy Gilmore. I watched Happy Gilmore. I watched the whole Happy Gilmore. One of the best lines in that movie is, without a doubt, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? It's going to be straight up one of the best lines in the movie.
Yes. No. And they did a little celebration on social media of that. It was old Happy, but it was Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
God, it's been a while since I've done this, and he smashes it down the big way. Still can hit it.
Did he actually really do that, did he?
I don't know about straight, but he definitely
did the acting, well, no doubt, but yeah.
And what was his offsider? Do you remember what his name was?
In the movie?
Shooter McGavin.
Oh, Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, and so Shooter McGavin also did some Instagram movies. It was fantastic. Paddock just tap it in. Find your home.
Yeah, don't you like your home? Yeah. Go to your home. Do you not like your home? Harness the good, block the bad. Heavy. Harness the good, block the bad. It's a good movie.
So yeah, unfortunately, you'll have to wait to watch Happy People and see Eric Bana being a mad Saints fan.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a great scene. I've talked about it a few times, and not many people have seen the movie Funny People.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, no, it's Judd Apatow directs it. His wife and kids are in it as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's like Adam Sandler's ex-wife and now Eric Bana's new wife, and that's the problem. Adam Sandler sees Eric Bana, it's like, he's just such a great human, but I want my wife back. I want my family back. But Eric Bana's the man.
He's pretty cool. I was just thinking, I think it was Eric Bana that played in Star Trek the bad guy in the reboot with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto as the was he?
Could be right. I'm seeing the face.
It's not the Klingons. It's the
and I'm not sure if it is Eric Bana. No, he's good.
Romulans. He's the Romulan baddie with the Romulan mining ship, I think.
That just reminded me, we had an Acorn computer growing up for a long time, and like good Microsoft PCs had already come out, Windows was out, but we still were rocking this Acorn, and it had a Star Trek game on it, and you had to shoot the Klingons.
That's it. Klingons on the starboard bow.
What is that song? Is that just called Star Trek? Yeah,
Star Trekking across the universe. That's good. We both knew that. That's quite good.
Yeah. What? 10 years apart? No, the same song. It's good.
Yeah. Klingons on the starboard bow.
Yeah, it's an adventure, that one. Just like Star Trek.
I was watching a bit of old Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, because I had to watch it first before the kids could watch it.
Yeah.
Because I was doing some quotes out of it for the kids. And like, that's funny, Dad. What's that up? I'm like, oh, it's a Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I don't know if you can watch it yet. So I watched it dead of night, so they weren't able to see or hear anything. And it was a couple of sticky bits there at the end there. But mostly it was pretty funny.
Man.
So man was like...
Yeah, that's been called out, that one. Yeah,
but there was quite... Oh, they're going to tuck that out. They're going to...
No, I don't know. It's out there.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. It's part of history. Don't whitewash it off. Anyway, but the point is, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, hilarious. And in the movie that we watched on, I don't know if it's on Netflix, they cut out the very scene that I did with the kids. They're like, Dad, the thing wasn't in it. I was like, this is rubbish. I looked it up, and they cut out the bit how he was being the dolphin trainer. Heinz Velvet, trainer of the dolphin, that whole thing. I'm Heinz Velvet, trainer of the dolphin. Do you know the dolphin? Does he call you at home? Do you have a dorsal fin? When you train the dolphin, you must think like the dolphin.
Is that the same Ace Ventura when he climbs out of the rhino, or is that?
No, that's the second one.
That's the second one. Yes, that's one I do remember watching. Yeah, in Queenstown on the inbuilt movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where we met, Queenstown.
It was.
Yeah.
Had snow vision.
We
were trying to get back there, and they keep cancelling the damn thing.
Another year.
I was gutted.
Yeah.
Gutted.
Well,
the whole point was going to be great fun. They would get to go back to bloody Queenstown. Cancel culture.
Yeah, it's been 2 years of it now. Gosh,
it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember rocking up, and there was like these young people here. We'll have a chat with these fellas.
You were recruiting for the ski race.
Yeah.
And I said, "Man, I'm a snowboarder." You're like, "Well, I need one of those."
That's it. We did.
Yeah.
And there was those other mates of yours, and then that was good. We won that year, didn't we? Did we win it?
Well, you did.
Oh, I won that year, but fastest smell scare.
Yeah. Trevor Gray wasn't there.
Well, he'd broken himself a couple of years earlier, and he sort of peeled back.
I'd
won it a couple of years, that thing. I didn't win it the year I wasn't here, though.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And so you're also winning the BNI ski racing?
It's not a race. It's more of a chance to get up there and check the ski lodge out and go skiing. Everyone's at such different levels, so it's not really racing going on. But you know, but the answer to your question is yes. It's not a race.
Of course.
I'm not going to go slow.
I made a trophy.
I did make a trophy. This one I bring here. I did actually get 50. I got best 50 seconds last Tuesday too.
Yeah, I did see that in the office today. Yeah. So what did you wow them with? What was the topic? What are we doing at Shattky's?
Like so many different things. I talk about something different every week, really.
Yeah.
I talked about anti-scratch coatings with
and that one piece 50 seconds.
Well, it's the delivery that counts. You know, when you're lacking in content, beef it up on presentation.
Diamond finish.
Yeah. So I talked about. I had a big tube.
Have you been talking to Hoya? Talking to the crew? No.
I talk about something different every week, and so because I can talk optometry for days on end. I just have to talk for 50 seconds. It's like, and really, you only got 30 seconds by the time you do your intro, X-ray.
Yeah.
So I had this big tube.
What's your intro? Hi,
Good morning, BNI. Oh no. Good morning, BNI. This is Tim Eagle, your passionate optometrist. Was that? Yeah, I think it was like that. Good morning, BNI. This is Tim Eagle, your passionate optometrist from Shattky Optometrists on Russell Street in Hastings and the main street in Waipakarau. I'm looking for referrals for and today I'm talking about whatever. I'll just carry on and then finish the byline.
That is 25 seconds.
Well, you got to do it quick. You got no time, and you try to crib a bit of time off because the timekeeper's slow on clicking the button or something and all.
Yeah, steal a second, eh?
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do in a second. It's quite amazing. Anyway, so I had this big tube. Like a cardboard tube for a poster because I just got a new poster made up in our White Park practice and loving your picture. I hope you've seen it. Oh, you see it tomorrow?
I saw Daryl's Taylor.
Yeah, the pretty girl Daryl's Taylor one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's double-sided.
Daly's Total One. Yes,
double-sided that thing.
Yeah,
about $500 a pop. That one's double-sided, but looks fantastic. Anyway, came in a big tube, and this tube's everywhere. So I took it home. I was like, if I give it to the kids, they'll beat each other up with it, and it'll get left on the grass and turn wet, and I'll soggy a bit of cardboard. I'm like, yeah, give it back to the guy, Alex from Speedy Signs in Hastings.
Yeah.
I said, Alex, do you need this sign post? He goes, yeah, I'll take it back. And he tried to take it off me before the meeting started. I said, no. I'll use it as a prop. And I won't even talk about it. And everyone will be like pissed I didn't talk about it. So I had it there, and I ended up being one of the almost last people to do the talk. And I had the thing, I was wiggling around on the floor. It was a bit of a distraction. And then suddenly I pulled it up and did the whole Gandalf thing. None shall pass. You shall not pass. Or something like that. And then I talked about how I bet you always feel that about the way your glasses get scratched. Wouldn't you like to protect your glasses from getting scratched up with your lenses and blah, 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 blah. Went off on some tangent about how you can get the coatings and Maui Jim. I've talked about Maui Jims. No.
They use something different the way they got their own.
Well, if they scratch, they make new ones.
Oh, good on you.
It's so good. But I've no Jim.
Oakley's are supposed to be bulletproof, right?
Sure.
We'll throw it on you.
I don't know. Maybe some of them are. Some of them are.
Yeah. How do you? Who's the driving force behind the fashion? Is that Mark, or has it always been?
Mark's had a massive influence on frame selections and frame purchasing for so many years. In the last few years, probably the last 6 or 7 years, I don't know, we've gone well more into the more interesting fashion sort of stuff, and it's been really cool. And it's taken us to the next level in our understandings of what's available out there. And Mark's been a massive driver about that thing there, and getting the edgy stuff, and also because he manages it. And you can't forget too that when he started optometry, if you wrote a script, you'd help the patient choose the frame, you'd get the lenses in, and you'd cut the lenses to that frame in the workshop. So, the doors would close at 5, all the patients would go, all the staff would go home, and the optoms were in the workshop doing their own glazing. So if you had a lot of work, you had a lot of work. If you didn't have a lot of work, you didn't have a lot of work. And so
it was like a good sign.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
And so they got a far more intricate and intimate understanding of spectacle frames, importance of nuances on things that made a difference or didn't make a difference with the lenses. They were really touching and feeling.
That was what I was about to say.
And
when you go out to the frame bar,
yeah,
and you
dispensary.
hold it dispensary, yeah, and you hold it in your hands and you look at the detail, or the job comes in, you're quality controlling it, you're holding it, you're looking at it, you're looking it over, looking at the components, and you go,
yeah,
this is a thing of beauty. And
it's a thing.
Old diamond finish with blue control, I love it. I'm like, look at that, amazing.
And so I think it's really cool that you've been able to do some QCing, because there's something about not actually getting to touch and feel that final stuff that we make people get, if you like.
And then you see your name on the Optom. You go, oh, I did that one.
All right, this is good. And I know Mrs. Jones, she'll look great in this, and oh, cool, that's great. Oh, geez, there's a big script. This is not good enough, And I think that we've all done that part of all the different roles. I mean, I've done all the roles within the practice, so I know what it's all like to do every single aspect. So it's been cool that you've been able to do that, because you get the touch, and when it's a +5 lens, how thick is that?
Well, we've had a couple of glass lenses in the other day. I was like, geez, I see why we don't do this. Man, that's a
different game.
Different game.
It's a different game, and the weight is huge. But some people love that.
I know.
And they go, oh no, yeah, but Tim, I tried the plastics like you said in rah, and now I want to go back to glass. Oh damn, I thought I talked you out of them last time. Yeah, they scratch too easy. It's like you got 4 scratches on your spectacle lenses from 4 years ago. Yeah, but the glass ones never scratched him.
Especially if they got a Safilo frame. Glass lens, that's a big lens.
You mean the Safilo 3022?
Yeah.
Because that's what every guy does, makes last for 20 years.
20?
Plus 25.
There's still some coming in.
Oh, mate, they're impressive. Like, those frames went out of fashion, they stopped making them. And the Australasian market made such a fuss. They brought them back in.
Yeah.
Because we weren't buying any of the lightweight new look and stuff. Like, nah, it's not good enough. My patients want... All the farmers...
Oh, they're amazing.
Well, they want the 3022.
Yeah, so when I graduated...
Solid double bridge, massive, big, triple Charnier, solid as a rock.
Yeah, so when I graduated and I was working at a... so it had been an independent practice that had gone to Specsavers, and so they had all these people with the Safilo frame from that independent practice.
Get some goodbye.
Reglazers. No, it was a reglaze. They were fantastic. They're, like I say, bulletproof. That's why I say anyone that comes in like, oh, you got those bulletproof frames.
Yeah. Oh, they're hard to break. You can drive over them and they still can be bent back into shape. Pretty good. I don't recommend driving.
No, don't do that.
You can still get them in if you really have to, but it's just such a headache. It's not the way. Titanium's pretty darn good. Icy Blue's pretty darn good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. They've got a beautiful hinge. I was just thinking that Safilo frame must have one of the greatest fixable hinge designs ever, and no one's replicated it.
It's too big and heavy.
Yeah, that is true. But that IC Berlin sort of interlocking 3 fingers.
Screwless construction hinge.
Piece of engineering.
Yeah, I broke a couple because I was trying to show the patient, oh look, you can just flick them out and break it. I was like, yeah, Sue will put this back together. She's like, you realise you broke that? I'm like, damn it. Broke that. But yeah, no, they're very good. Very good, lightweight, strong, super flexy. That's why I say, something a bit more conservative with a bit of flair.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
And whenever you see someone else wearing it, you're like, that's good gear. You're just like, I don't know what it is, but that just looks cooler than a normal spectacle frame.
And the great thing about IC Berlin, like, yes, you could go down the road of getting a rimless, but it like has that same lightness on the face. Yet it has design and texture and shape and colour.
Had a mate of mine who got an IC Berlin in Australia. He comes over and I saw him about 2 or 3 times. I was like, dude, this frame is 7 years old and it won't break. He goes, I know. I gave him 2 new nose pads after 7 years. I'm like, this isn't good for business. He eventually broke them and comes in, all right, I need another pair. And I got him another pair. Oh, they're not as good. I'm like, yeah, of course they're not. They're your old slipper you're comparing to.
Yeah.
You got to get used to
Grandpa's Slippers, great book.
The book, Joy Cowley. I think she's a Hastings girl.
Oh.
That's why
You'll claim it.
I think so. She's in the same pair.
Jamie, look that up.
Jamie, can you just look up the Joy Cowley? I think she's from Hastings in the St. Peter Chanel Parish in Hastings.
So why is there no Joy Cowley playground in Hastings?
I don't know. There should be. Maybe Ryman's is going to rechange.
Yeah.
Well, they went with James Waddy's. I mean, you're going to go with Waddy's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they even got that.
Yeah, I like it in Pukekohe. They have the Possumbourne retirement village.
And up in Whangarei, no. Oh, jeez. Up in Whangarei, they've got the Jane... Oh, it's just gone out of my head. Ryman? Jane Manda. Jane Manda. Do you know Jane Manda? No. If you're not from Whangarei, you don't know her. But she's amazing.
What'd she do?
I don't even know, but she's amazing enough to get Ryman's facility up there named after her.
Must be awesome.
Yeah, she must be awesome. And the same with James Waddy. And everyone's like, who's James Waddy? Waddy's baked beans.
Need your sauce.
Yeah, well, that could buy with Heinz. But,
yeah.
But, whatever.
Yeah, so Christchurch has the Margaret Mayhew playground. It's impressive.
Margaret Mayhew got a little bit further than Joy Cowley.
Yeah, but I was thinking, Cornwall Park, that could have been, if Joy Cowley is from Hawke's Bay.
Cornwall is a little bit longer in the tooth than Joy Cowley, though.
But
been like for
he's got the park. He's got the park already. The playground could be.
They could.
The Joy Cowley playground at Cornwall Park.
I guess they could do that.
Yeah.
Put a submission to the council. We're going to get Jamie to prove that she's from Hastings and St. Peter Chanel. I might be getting confused. I thought she was. I thought she was, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Easy to be wrong. Google should tell us.
I've got a phone, but that's rude.
Don't look at it. Don't. Because I might be wrong.
I got my watch back.
What are you going to watch?
I've had this watch since I was 21.
Really?
And I finally took it next door to the Naked Jeweler.
Oh, yeah. How did you do?
Well, they had to send it away because it's curved face.
It looks weird.
Yeah. But, so I've had the face cracked for a good 3 years. And as you say, you haven't seen my watch. I haven't worn it the whole time. It's been broken.
Sadness.
And then, no battery as well. And I finally took it in. I was like, I've been working next door to a jeweler for 2 years. And I've got a watch. And now I've got a watch. But the real cooker was old Ross Gordon. We were, when Eye Institute changed here, we had the discussion of, is it rude to check your phone for the time?
Ross Hardy.
Ross Hardy.
Yeah.
Hardy. Sorry, Ross Hardy. Ross Hardy.
That's right. They did get confused quite a lot. Yeah. But Ross Gordon, Taupo, Ross Hardy. Whanganui.
Yeah. And we had the discussion, is it rude to check your phone for the time? Is that the same? Or is it better to check your watch? But is checking your watch rude?
Yeah, well, either way, you're like looking at the time. Like, well, why are you looking at the time? Well, because this is dragging. There we go.
I've got somewhere to be. Yeah,
it's a tricky one, And you get a text like, well, is it important? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's so funny. I haven't worn a watch for over a decade because I felt like I've been surrounded in watches at the computers, at the practice. I'm like, I don't need a watch. And if I'm not on the practice, I'm in the car and there's a watch and there's a clock in there.
And then I'm on my own time and I don't care what the time is.
And then I get home and I'm like, there's a clock over there. I'm like, I don't need a watch. And then this whole training thing changed the whole game, And then I've got to measure stuff. Got to do the analytics on the stroke and the bike and the run and all this sort of heart rates and then I got this.
How was data?
Just awesome.
It was good.
I loved it.
You felt like shit, and you're like, yeah, that's justified. I worked real hard.
Like I really relished the whole program towards Ironman. It was just a wonderful thing. Like the training, I enjoyed. It was difficult, but I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the day, I loved that as well. Everyone goes, "Oh, you got to make sure you enjoy the day." I'm like, okay. So I did. I loved it.
So
great journey.
With the data, did you do that in your training, or was that post training analysis?
Combination of things. Mm-hmm. So it's a little tricky to do it with the swim.
Yeah.
But the swimming function,
some goggles
it buzzes you. I know. I don't know. Actually, I've got some goggles ordered that are next level cool goggles where they measure the shape of your face.
Yeah.
And they custom build it.
Oof.
Yeah. And apparently they don't leak. They're awesome. Everyone loves them. They're due any day now.
I tell you what, when I was swimming, the best goggles were Swedish eye poppers.
Yeah.
Hard plastic, little piece of string for the bridge. Make it as loose or as tight as you need.
Yeah.
A couple of bits of rubber on the back. Away you go. Yeah.
Simpler, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because all my
these
the goggles that suck onto your eye nice, that the bridge doesn't flex, and you get a cut nose.
My Speedo, what are they called? Anyway, they're an eye popper design, but with a suction cup on them. That part's all right, but the bridge is rubber, and so you constantly at the end of each, when you go to the end of the pool, you pull the nose pad down again. We try to tie it up, and then it rubs on your nose. And
it's hurty, eh?
Hurty.
So I got this new one coming on, and it's going to be amazing.
Fixed bridge. I
forget. I'm supposed to remember the name. I forgot the name. This is not good for promotion for these people. I don't know.
Are they through optics or no? No.
I'm useless.
No, it's all right.
Anyway, it's cool. They're coming. But
how'd you find them?
Well, when you linked up to all of these websites, you buy the stuff of, buy a wetsuit here, buy a bit of this here, and then suddenly you get info and data and stuff, and then you find them out about these things. Like, oh, I'll try these ones. Yeah. And like, I thought I could get away with buying one pair of goggles at the start of the journey and being okay.
And then you're like, these are shit.
They get
like running shoes.
I didn't understand the journey, but I do now. And so the current shoes I'm wearing right now are the ones I ran the marathon on, and they're worn out, and I need a new pair of running shoes. But even running these on the peak, going for a walk with the kids, danger zone. You need trail shoes. I was slipping. I was like, this is not good. So I need 2 new pairs of shoes, a trail pair of shoes for not running, and then I need a road pair of running shoes for running. I'm like, damn, I got to keep getting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get less stuff, and I just feel like I'm getting more. But we've been done on the whole Marie Kondo thing. You sort of.
Yeah, now you need somebody McEwen, minimalism.
Oh yeah. There's a couple of cool things like that. Have you heard of Marie Kondo?
Yeah,
she's the way. And so
she's the way for throwing shit out.
Oh yeah, so
and folding your socks.
So I draw the line at the socks because I tried that. But
what's her vibe on the socks?
She folds them.
What, into each other? But they surely come apart.
Well, if you stack them nice, they're fine.
Oh, is that the trick?
But you see, I've maintained the roll them up strategy for the socks. But I fold the undies. I fold the t-shirts.
Her analogy around the sock as well. It just makes you feel bad.
Like, I know. I've been damaging the soles.
Imagine being under tension all that time. You're like, well, you're on my foot under tension.
Yeah, where's the break? You're not giving them a break. Be kind to your socks.
They're elastic.
Yeah, and probably she's right. And I probably need to do the sock thing. But I've lost my way a little bit on that. But I fold all my jeans.
I fold my t-shirts like that.
My t-shirts now are racked. Like military precision of t-shirts here. And I can see them all, and I've folded them so I can see what's on them. Like, this is good.
Yeah.
I am better for it. I need to do another clear out of going through. Thank you for your service. Put that away.
Yeah, I'm like that with gym gear.
I didn't go as far as sprinkling salt in the bag of clothes.
Really?
That's a thing.
Okay. What was the vibe?
I don't know.
I haven't read the book. I've only Marie Kondoed viscerally. And enough information to be dangerous.
Right, as long as you can chuck out stuff, that's cool.
I'll probably throw out good stuff.
I think it's like the teddy bears. You put them in the bag, and it's not nice, so you put a bit of salt to let go of that. Let go of that problem. I don't know. It's a thing. I didn't do the salt, but what I'm trying to say is I didn't put the salt in the bag. There you go. But I did chuck out a lot. We chucked out a lot. We went through the whole house. We Marie Kondoed the house and got rid of a ton of stuff. Got the kids to do it. Got the kids to do the toys. Worked really well.
I guess the kids' stuff. It must be nice to hand that off to someone.
Yeah.
Like and that's the thing. Like, kids' toys is so much joy, and then it's sitting in the corner.
And then it's not. This too will pass, right? I mean, it really is as simple as some of the toys, they don't hit home.
Yeah.
Some of the toys are just rabid winners.
Especially the box that came in.
Well, maybe, but the box gets destroyed and they move to the next box. That's not the thing, but sometimes those toys will just be, that is my favourite. Don't be chucking out that one. That is my favourite. Well, as long as it's your favourite, we'll keep it. But all these other ones that are not, what do we get those for? Get those the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Don't get those out. So we do a clean out.
Yeah.
Part of the journey.
And the Lego collection, that's eternal.
We don't chuck out Lego.
Yeah.
The toughest thing, I think, and most people who've got lots of Lego will agree, is the instruction booklets get destroyed so easily. You actually need a separate vessel for this, and so we've got that.
This is debatable, because when you've got the specific box and you construct it, once the booklet's gone, it now goes into the creative pile.
Yeah. I mean, the trouble is that most of it's creative anyway, and you build it once by instructions, and you'd be lucky. I reckon the stats will be super low on people that go back and rebuild it.
Jugger does have some good pieces. He's got a combi van. Yeah. He's got the Weasley's house.
You see, but how many times you build the Weasley's house before you're like, I'm smashing it and building something different?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's still intact. And like Billy always goes to try and play with it. I'm like, don't touch the Weasley house. Don't touch the combi van.
He needs to let it go.
These are beautiful pieces.
I mean, yeah, okay, sure. I mean, we've got a big, giant, bloody great big tub of the things of Lego, and yeah, I always thought it'd be cool for the kids to go back on a rainy afternoon and build every single pit that they ever got, but bits get lost.
Yeah, Lego's interesting because
you can 3D print it though, right? If you lose a bit,
you can. And I see they've like changed the what Lego's made out of, so it's more ecological. So I think it's might be made out of sugar or something now.
Oh wow, you can eat it.
I wouldn't.
Stillable, you can eat it.
Or like
you can stand on it still. Though.
Plant stuff. So it might.
We love Lego.
Yeah,
it's good. I mean, the kids build so much stuff. They out of it. They don't need the instruction manual. After they build it once, they're like, cool. But keeping the instruction manuals and good. I mean, you can download them. You can reprint them. They've got all this stuff if you really want it. But you have to know what you had before you can download it to build it what you got with it. So it's tricky. So, but the instruction books, when they get chucked in with the Lego, they get shredded. Shredded. We've got like pages of like one thing. That's the only. We've got like 2 pages, and it's a shredded page of an item that was like a car or a truck or something, and you're like, well, you can see I've built part of the chassis. That's what you're going to say.
I remember that. Yeah, it's a bit like
I was in that building anyway.
When I first showed up, you said, Ryan, get onto the old Rubik's Cube.
Oh yeah.
So now a year on, I can do the first part, but I can't finish the Rubik's Cube anymore.
Oh yeah, so it's use it or lose it.
It's a bit like the Lego. You know, I can build the chassis, but where do all these bits go?
I was always impressed that you got that nutted out because
the internet helped.
Oh, it does, but no, but not so much that you. I mean, I expected you to be able to nut that out, but also to be able to still do it. Like it's like because you had it down for a good couple of years. I thought. Right?
Yeah, I had it down. Yeah, like could go pick it up again for a while, and then
you just have to keep doing it, and I think that's a beautiful thing about the Rubik's Cube. It's a magic moment when you do those final turns. I mean, for old people like me, I'm like, this is a magic thing.
You're not old.
These young 16-year-olds that do it in 4 seconds are pretty amazing.
Juggling 3 of them.
Ultimate.
Yeah, these levels.
I saw a most amazing. I know it's annoying talking about these sorts of things, but I saw a most amazing thing where some 16-year-old kid, and he had a box with like 100 Rubik's cubes, pours them out onto the floor and starts solving them and stacking them in a frame. He just stacks it, but it wasn't a perfect solve. Yeah, stacks it.
And made a picture.
The Mona Lisa.
Oh.
So it's like he pixelated the Mona Lisa to the size he was doing it, calculated how many things, and worked out what colour it had to be. And every single Rubik's Cube was a different 3. So he worked out the 3 pixels that were the 9 pixels that required by that cube, solves it, and then fixes to get the pattern that way, puts it up. Next one. Mona Lisa appears. I'm like, I'm stoked when I get all oh geez, I have to think about it. All 6 sides, and that makes me happy.
You've got an octagon one, or
I got a 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, 5x5 triangle thing, an octagon one. Yeah, like it's a ball almost. Got different shaped ones, that multi-sized things. It's most amazing. I had no idea there was it. Oh my god, it was a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It took me 10 hours to learn how to do the first one, memorise that, got that licked. Oh, this is cool.
And how did you start?
Wow. Eddie, he was 2 years old. And somebody gave him a Rubik's Cube. And I swear, I was like, I cursed him out. I was like, you've just given this. And you know what he's going to do the first time he fuddles it up? His dad, fix it. Is what he's going to say. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you son of a gun. Anyway, and so I only just chucked out my Rubik's Cube about 4 years earlier anyway. I was like, stuff this. I was sick of having it. So anyway, I was like, okay, I'm going to work how to do this. So it took me 10 hours. And I'd memorised how to do it. And then I realised the actual Rubik's Cube is a poor cube. It doesn't really rotate very nicely at all. So then I got a speed cube. Got that off Trade Me. They move faster, so you can go, it's a smoother movement. And so I learned how to do that quicker. And when I got my time under 2 minutes, I felt pretty clever. I was like, I'm pretty cool. And then I taught I was in a choir for this company, and there was one of these kids, a high school kid, and he was sort of having a crack at it. I was like, no, give it here, I'll show you. I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And so I was teaching him how to do Rubik's Cube, and then all of a sudden he came back, he says, tell me, have you heard about this F2, L2, P2 sort of stuff? I'm like, oh, I know there's another way, and I'm doing the novice way. He says, yeah, look at this. F2 method is da-da-da. I'm like, whoa, that's quick. So you do it so much quicker.
So what do you do? How are you making it quicker? Doing a couple of sides at a time or something?
No. So you know how we solve the first face, solve the T, solve the edges, solve the top, solve the corners, solve the cross, solve the other corners. That's the novice easy method.
Of course.
So the actual...
It works though.
Like, yeah, it does. Any scrambled Rubik's Cube is only 20 moves away from being solved. Wow. You just have to know the right solving moves. So when they get the computer to scan it, and then the computer goes 3.2 seconds for the computer to solve the Rubik's Cube.
I didn't know that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, they only do 20 movements. So the computer only has to get it doing 20 movements quickly. So the faster the computer can do 20 movements, the faster the computer solving time will be. But it comes a limit on the cube's ability to twist and flex and quick enough, as much as it does as the little jaws that grip it and spin it. But any time if you watch any Rubik's Cube solving on YouTube,
not rabbit hole. I've seen.
Okay, so the way it works is the competitor they've got their hands here like this, and then the Rubik's Cube's here, and then the timer starts, and they're allowed to pick the cube up but not twist it. So they've got an adjudicator watching every move. They're allowed to twist it in any format. They'll look at the pattern and put the cube down, hands down like that. And the moment they pick, they've got 10 seconds to do that.
So it's not like a
Well, in fact, you can look at it as long as I think. Let's say there's not a time limit, because it doesn't matter if you know what you're looking at. You know what you're looking at. If you don't know what you're looking at, you can look at it all day. It's not going to make a difference. So you look at it, you're like, remember, okay, right. So you put it down, and you're thinking in your head which movements I have to do. Which 20 moves have I got to do?
Wow.
And that's the time the kids have got to do it. And so the fastest kid does it in 5 seconds, 4 seconds, something like that. Something stupid. Or maybe it's 6 seconds for the computer. Okay, so don't quote me on the time, but it's very, very swift. And so they do this. And of course they've got times for the 4x4, the 5x5, 6x5. And then they've got blindfold. And then they've got doing it with your feet. And you've got, honestly, it's insane. The guy doing it with his feet for a 3x3 can do it in less than a minute. I think that's true. The guy he does a 4x4 with his feet in less than 2 or 3 minutes. I'm like, I can't. I'm using both my hands trying to solve a 3x3, and he's doing it with 1 or 2 feet. And I'm like, this is next level stuff, man. So anyway, the point is that when the computer does it, it has a chance to scan as well, because that's fair. You have to look at the picture. Yeah. So the computer's got a little camera that goes around, scans all 6 sides, and establishes where those particular points are. And it then does its computations and says, within a matter of microseconds, it's worked out the 20 moves it has to do, and then it goes, boom, done it. And I think it's about 3.4 seconds. I'm desperately keen for Jamie to look it up. Jamie, can you?
Yeah.
But I think it's about that. It's very quick.
It's better telling yarns.
Anyway, so the kid next to me inquired, which he's come back and Tim, watch this.
Was this on the flight to and from New York? Or?
Oh, this was in the training, in the
training.
rehearsals. So
Yeah.
when the basses and the tenors at the back of the choir were sitting there and we're like,
Hum, hum,
well, we just like basses and tenors be quiet. We're working with sopranos and altos. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. And I was like, what are you doing? So everyone's got cubes in their pockets. So like, so by the time we'd finished, the whole bass was like, and all the girls like, why are you doing all the cubes? I'm like, well, we always learn our bit quicker than you fellas, so we're all sweet. So we were just, But that's a whole other story. When we got selected to go to New York and sing at the Lincoln Center.
Yes, how does a choral group from Hawke's-Bay,
from Hastings,
not just Hastings?
Yeah, no, I mean it's not.
It's turf warfare.
Yeah, it's like it's a whole raft. Like it's people of age from like 12 through to 70. Like it's a massive range of people.
So why is it called Three's Company then?
It's Four's Company.
Four's Company, sorry.
Four's Company. Well, because
Yeah, Three is Company, but Four's definitely Company.
Well, what is it? Three's a crowd and Four's a company. Five's a party.
Five's party.
Anyway, so
not at St Margaret's. Three's party.
Oh, well, fucking O'Rourke. If you had more than two people in your room, it was a party. It's like that's a bullshit, right? I mean, we had lots of people. I mean, we had some pretty awesome room parties actually. I think one party we broke a bed.
Oh dear.
That wasn't
that
good.
fixed to the ground.
That wasn't good. We got in trouble for that one. Anyway, but yeah, going back to the choir thing. So we're doing our choir, and we'd perform around the Hawke's Bay and go to rest homes and perform. Go to make a certain concert and we'd perform and sell tickets and all that sort of stuff. And they'd film it and put it on YouTube. And someone tracked us down. They rang up our choir director Carol, and they said, "Hey, we've just seen you guys sing. You're awesome. Do you wanna come and sing in New York at the Lincoln Center?" And our choir was like, "This is a scam. See you later." Beep. They call back. No, it's not a scam. I'll check out this website and you can see what you think. Check it out. Oh, it's not a scam. They enable choirs from around the world of varying qualities to come and perform as a mass choir in the Lincoln Center as part of an experience opportunity to do this thing. So we got selected. And so they said, "Yep, can you come?" But this is like in June, July. "Can you make it for December?" We're in the middle of putting on a show right now, and you want us to coordinate 30 people from the ages of 12 through 70 in less than 6 months to come to New York.
What summer?
Yeah, well, not for New York.
No, yes.
So I'm like, "Look, we're gutted, but we can't do this." They're like, "Oh, that's okay. You don't want to come in 2 years later?" I'm like, "Yeah,
we can do that.
We can do that. We got time. We can work with that, And so 2 years later, we did massive fundraisings for 2 years non-stop. We were fundraising to go to New York. Shattky sponsored a big chunk of. We sponsored the uniform site, all the girls' dresses and all of the suits and stuff for the guys, and it was cool. Anyway, so we got to they said, "Oh, now look, if you come in 2 years, you've got two options. You can sing this song here and sing at the Lincoln Center." Oh, damn it, I got it wrong. "You can sing this song here and sing at the Carnegie Hall, or you sing at this song here and sing the Lincoln Center." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And the Lincoln Center song was way. I mean, do you know about the Lincoln Center?
No. I'd imagine it's a big place.
It's an amazing centre for music singing. There's 3 different major concert halls in New York, and it fills a lot of people. And there's these massive concerts there. It's pretty awesome. Like 1,400 people, 2,000 people in the. So 2,200. Jeez, the numbers just evaporate. Anyway, a lot of people in this concert hall, and we could sing at Carnegie Hall. Was the initial pitch. They said, "Come and sing at Carnegie Hall." But I thought that was amazing because we've all heard of Carnegie Hall. How to win friends and influence people.
As what I was going to say. It's not.
It's not. It's not. It's a trick. Yeah, good. You got it. Anyway, so it's not.
That's my question.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's your question?
Yeah.
The question is, Dale Carnegie is separate to Carnegie Hall.
Good.
It was before him. Anyway, so we sang at the Lincoln Center. So we got there 2 years, got over there. Get to New York and sing this thing. It was a mass choir. And the song we sang was about a 12. It was a really interesting piece of music, and it was a piece of music where 12 different composers, like top level New York composers and composers from around the place.
They chose your song.
Yeah. We sang what they told us to sing. So we sang 12 pieces all together with a massive 200 people in the choir from 12 different choirs around the country. Well, we were from New Zealand. There was Canadian, a couple of weird places in America, but mainly from the eastern side. And we were the only straight choir. The rest of the choirs were all gay, lesbian choirs. Because the particular piece of music was about a young boy who came out as being gay and got significantly bullied, online bullying, ended up committing suicide.
Oof.
Tragic story, absolutely tragic. But what happened is his roommate, because he was in university, the kid was a superstar talented musician, and that's why I became a musical background. But his dorm mate filmed him with his first experiences his first gay relationship and put it on YouTube. Got a stack of watches and views and a lot of hate for it, and then the kid ended up just...
Oh man, that's tragic.
Yeah. Like, it's just horrific. So worst case of you can possibly imagine for a person that you know, your son or daughter, going through this horrible thing. And so there's this massive thing about Tyler and Tyler's song, and Tyler is the guy's name, and his story, and there's a massive big gay rights movements with Tyler as leading the charge of his memory and how tragic it was with the bullying situation that went on. Anyway, so it came about that 12 composers got together and before that, sorry, go back a step. The people who wrote the music was a reporter or a journalist of some sort that interviewed the different members of the family and the story and understood it, and wrote almost like a poem about it from mum's point of view, dad, the brothers, the environment, all these other aspects about his musical life and such. So it told a story from where to go about this kid, young and upcoming kids, so performing, doing well, all something. And then, so I think it was 12 different pieces of music, well, script or prose or whatever you want to call it. One of them was a really meditative om one sort of thing, but they had 12 different composers all write their own version. So we swung 12 different pieces of music with 12 different composers.
And they were full choir pieces with all the different parts.
Totally. Like sometimes there's a violin, because the guy Tyler was a talented violinist, so there was a bit that he was doing. There was a violin solo and stuff, and it was all going through the process from that. And so it was hugely moving. And they did it in like Gay Pride Week or whatever it was. And so the place was fully booked. We sang to a full audience in this massive big hall, and there's all these folks. It was just an amazing journey to be a part of. And we were the only straight choir, and they made a couple of jokes about, like, now, you watch out for those Kiwis, because they're all a bunch of straight, it's a straight choir. And everyone was like, what? Well, you pretty looking Kiwis, oh, screw you, we're coming to New Zealand. And I was just like, oh, we're not all this good looking, So that was a lot of fun. So I can honestly say that, I don't know, there's not many people in New Zealand who can say that they've been in a choir with, 200 other gay and lesbian people. And even in our party afterwards, it was massive.
Yeah.
It was like you feel like you're the only straight guy as far as the eye can see. And it's just amazing. It was a lot of fun.
In Pride Week. So all the paraphernalia is going on.
It's crazy, man. It was a lot of fun. And we did a practice rehearsal, and then we did some rehearsals for the 2 days before. On the day, you get a warm-up. We didn't sing the whole thing. We sang most of each song. And then you come back that afternoon and do the actual performance. And then we went to a big dinner afterwards. And had a
good time.
Got on it.
Yeah.
Like, pretty hard out.
It
was great in New York. Yeah, we finished with margaritas in some Mexican bar, ordering jugs of margaritas.
Fantastic.
It was a fantastic day and night. The experience was fantastic. I think I was sick for 2 days after.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonder how the preparation for that song would go these days. Like, I wonder if everyone would sing their parts, download the little audio track and send it to each other. Someone would compose all the parts, and then so you can sing your part with everyone else. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, it's just so amazing. We did it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, we got together, and like when we were in the
had the music and then met up 2 days before.
2 days before, and we get up and they put all the altos, the sopranos, the basses, the tenors, and split us all up into the parts we're singing. So you're standing next to a bunch of guys all singing your part. Like, wow, I've never heard our part sung with such amazing force.
Yeah.
And like when you're used to having like 4 or 5 basses, if you're lucky, and 3 or 4 tenors, and suddenly in your room with like 50 tenors, 50 basses, pumping out the sounds properly.
Yeah. And having the harmonics of all that, like, ooh. And like you say, in a choral hall that's bouncing around, sounds bouncing around.
They did so well. It was very cool. It was a wonderful experience.
And so what sights did you see?
I highly recommend any newbie tourist going for New York to get on the topless buses. Yeah. So and it's not what you think. It's not what you wanted to think, but it's like so. There's no top on these buses, and you just sit on the top rack, and you just drive around the centre of New York.
Kind of like London's old buses.
Probably. I don't really know. Though I haven't been to London.
Yeah,
but the idea of that you're getting your bearings in the city,
mm-hmm.
so you pay a modest sum to be able to get on and off this bus
you got
anytime
a guide?
you like. No. Well,
no guide?
No, well, there might have been a guy that said stuff at the front of the bus. I don't remember, but I remember just going, right, that's where that is, that's where this is. You get a sense of where we're at, what we're looking at, and where the city is. And you're like, right, okay. So we spent the first 3 days, 4 days even. Gosh, could have even been 5 days getting on and off this bus because it's kind of like the Auckland link. You know, you get on and off as much as you like. And so then, yeah, we did on and off that, and that was a really good way to get your bearings.
I love it that our reference to the topless bus of New York City is the Auckland link.
Yeah, it was $1 when I was on there, and then I went back. It's like $2.50. I was like,
might have even been
$3.
The city link might have been free for a little while there while I was in Auckland. That's just a little centre loop.
There was a time when it was free, eh?
Yeah,
there
probably
was.
still is. Someone's going, yeah, it's still free.
I remember when I went on a date actually, just riding the link. See what we're going to do? See, we're going to get a cup of coffee and we'll get on the link. And we're just going to talk and check Auckland out.
Yeah,
we just did that. It was a great idea. It worked really well. We got off on the same stop we got on.
It was great if you were organised enough for going to town, especially if you could get yourself to Gay Road and catch the free link. Yes, it was free.
Well, we did that all the time.
Free
that was a key factor.
Down to
downtown. Yeah,
or downtown.
And you get guys who'd miss it. They're trying to beat you down there, and that'd be great.
You did that a few times. Run down Queen Street.
Yeah, it's good. Did you ever do some skateboarding up in Auckland?
Not in Auckland. I used to in Dunedin. So
Auckland's so good for skateboarding.
Yeah. So where I was in Dunedin in my second year was up. There's a whole arena up on the hill. I think it's Clyde Street, and we were one street over in Agnew Street. And so I used to. That was far too steep and straight into some houses, so I didn't do that. But I'd walk down that street, walk along, I think 4th, and then down Clyde Street. And used to bomb that. So when I first started bombing it, I would go halfway, and by the end of uni, I was bombing from 4th Street, and it was good. But there was a high chance that a car could come out. That never happened. But
pain is so real on a skateboard. Like you just when you bail off and you're banging your body up, it hurts.
Yeah, thankfully that didn't happen.
That's a lot of the time in summer I was wearing jeans in Auckland because I was skateboarding around. I was like, oh no, I'm wearing jeans.
Yeah, no, I used to. Yeah, I got it right by the final year. Lived in Arch Hill, so I just used to walk along Gay Road over Grafton Bridge, and I was there. But yeah,
when I lived in Parnell, it was quite cool. I'd be able to skateboard up and cross and around to the museum and blast down from the museum in, and
nice.
It was great. But then the final couple of years, I was out in Oringa. One Tree Hill, Wanihanga.
Yeah,
stay in one spot. That was quite good.
I had
great skateboarding around here.
2 years on the edge of Remuera, so like over the motorway from Green Lane and then up towards Upland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that was bus rides, and then we moved out to Wanihanga as well.
Yeah,
so that was bus ride.
Just a reasonable amount of rent, getting out of the city, but it's only a bus one and two links. Eh?
Yeah,
was it two?
Yeah, I think.
What do you call it again?
I think when I was at Wanihanga, it was three
2 legs
zones.
Two zones. The two zones. They had a thing for it, eh?
That was the pricing.
I used to have load my card up and I'd go zapping it and all this stuff. I got it pretty slick in the end. I knew what I was doing.
Knew your time frames.
Yeah, I knew what buses I needed to catch and where I had to wait. And every now and again, you get cut out by a bus that didn't do the right thing.
Oh, it would always be the worst trying to get home though, because something would happen in, say, Queen Street or Britomart, and so you'd just be watching the. I don't know if you had the boards with the.
They just brought them in, and they were starting to be useful when they came in, which was quite a remarkable thing. Really, I thought, like, well, that's actually futuristic.
Well, a bit like wheelie bins in Hamilton, Hawke's Bay. You know, growing up in Invercargill with wheelie bins since I can remember. We were in Christchurch and having the most impeccable wheelie bin system, and then going to places like Waikato and Hawke's Bay, going, there's a system already.
It's not rocket science.
Can we do it?
Just do a thing.
It was the same with the Orbiter in Christchurch. It had been there for years. Press the button, this far away.
It's not hard. I just remember being in Auckland and we had the initial really big wheelie bins and everyone would jam and fall in the head. And I go, okay, we're going to give you a little wee recycling bin. You know, that's not really going to cut it with 1 dozen beer bottles. It's already full. Like, we'll put it in the... And they're like, we're going to shrink your rubbish bin down to half the size of the wheelie bin. And then we're going to give you a wheelie bin that is the recycling, and you can fill that sucker up. We're like, now we're talking.
Well, I had the best conversation the other week with a patient about the whole wheelie bin thing, and here's it's the case for and against automation. And so, how long are you going to chuck a bin filled with a couple of dozen beer bottles or one bottles, whatever, into a back of a truck for? 1 year, 2 years, and then you're moving on.
Oh, the worker.
The worker, and run along beside the truck, and also have another person inside the truck driving the truck. He said, "There's already a system. It drives along. The person's in an air-conditioned cab. It's filtered. They don't have to breathe in the stank. It picks up the bins, chucks the bins into the thing. It can compress the thing. We take it straight to the refuse station. Done.
We're good here. Yeah."
I was like, it's preaching to the converted, but I'm glad to hear it from the horse's mouth of the person that actually does it. And he said, that's what he said about both Waikato and Hawke's Bay, because they were involved there. He said, we go to the tenders and we're like, we're not dealing with you if you want to talk about crates, because this is stupid. We've got the trucks already. What are we doing?
Why are we doing crates? Yeah. And the whole idea of they're throwing them back in your face if you've got a wrong thing in there. Like, dude,
I'm trying.
Just take it all and fix it somewhere else. I mean, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, no, they can't. That does bring in some people, but yeah, the old if it's smaller than a credit card of plastic, it's no good to them.
All right.
That's the thing. Huh. And the numbers. Yeah, it's good. Not that you use meat trays, but it's good to see the meat trays are recyclable. Yeah.
Oh, the meat trays. Yeah. For such a long time, I wouldn't have forgotten about
it. It was fascinating you said about your bin. Like, I've had not nearly as many flies.
Oh, mate. Yeah. No, flies. Like the whole, and like after a barbecue, there was just flies everywhere for Africa. And it's like, no. And now I just don't get that.
No flies?
No flies, mate.
No? It's good. When you were eating meat, and we traded a bottle of wine for a back steak.
Yeah.
How did you get, like you said, your uncle was the teacher of wine making?
The viticulture lecturer at EIT.
Fantastic. How was the journey of learning winemaking?
So much fun. Like, winemaking is applied science, and it's fun. I remember it being high school, applied science, that's for the cabbage people, I'm doing physics, look at me.
And you're working in applied science.
And then I'm like, applied science is the science. I mean, I just didn't quite grapple with how science worked in the real world at that time. I was just focused on get physics, biochem, getting optometry, that's what I got to focus on. So I didn't really think about how applied science can be. And so during my university years, my uncle was already doing viticulture stuff, and so he'd be helping students all the time making wine. That's what part of the course was. And so when you get left over like a whole barrel of extra wine, what are you going to do? So we made wine all the time. It was great. And part of the fun was picking it and pressing it, winemaking sort of stuff, and then bottling it. It's quite a systematized thing, and all the engineers like, oh yeah, you can put some lines in here, and we do beer this way, and blah, 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 blah. Wine isn't like that. Wine is more delicate and needs batch management, and each thing's different, and sometimes you've got to do something different. You can't rely on it always works this way. Whereas with beer, you can rely on it. That's how they've got all those constant, continuous brewing things going on, and that's why they just pump them out. But wine's quite different.
Both fantastic, but in different ways.
Different tools, different jobs. It's real simple as that, eh? So, but the wine side of things it was great. There were times when we were making, one year making Sauvignon Blanc. In the Hawke's Bay we couldn't get any grapes, but there was a glut going on in the South Island, and we ended up buying. What
do you mean by glut? They had too many?
Yeah, they had so much they didn't know what to do with it. They're like pouring it down the drain. And when I say pouring it down the drain, the juice. So they get the grapes off the vines, and they had so much of it that we don't need it.
Yeah.
You're like, what? And so we were able to buy a tanker of grape juice. So squished grapes.
Yeah, so did it come in a tanker? No, so that was another interesting patient telling me about. They basically do crates that have a bladder inside them.
That's another game.
I was like, that's amazing.
So when they
think of a goon inside of a container,
of a 20-foot shipping container.
Yeah,
and they ship it to India.
Yeah,
and then the Indians bottle it over there.
Yeah, because
way more cost effective, and you get more wine over there that way.
Yeah,
because if you put it in a bottle, you got all the air gaps, and it's a nightmare. So then
and the glass.
They got the problem of bottling it, but they get the cost benefit. So it all works out really well. So then what happens is that when we're doing it, we're making the wine. So that's finished wine getting sent over. Whereas when you've got the grapes that have just squashed, it's the grape skins and the juice and everything. It's called the musk, and so then you've got the musk coming through. It's got natural yeast, and it's called wild yeast that's in that. And if you leave it for too long, it starts the fermentation process. So once it's squished and squashed, you need to control the yeast that you're going to put into it to make the wine the right way you want to make it. So we've got this tanker shipped up from Nelson, and they shipped it to Palmy. They sat there for a day before they worked out it was supposed to come to Hawke's Bay. So when we got it, the tanker arrives, we took the top off. The thing blew off the top. We lost like 100 litres of Sauvignon Blanc juice because the wild yeast ferment had already started. And so then, so then we get it in and we sort of get into what we're doing.
So we did transfer it from the tanker
into another great big tank. My mate, who's an orchardist, had a tank that he could refrigerate properly. And so we get it in there and you coordinate the right yeast, and you have to set the yeast, you have to start your own yeast. So dried yeast, so you buy the right yeast, you dry it and you wake it up with water and you stir it around and get it started. Once it's started, then going and feeding it with the right sugars and all that sort of stuff, and then put it in the big tank and get it going and stir it around, and then a couple of days later it's all going and all the bubbles of the yeast are rising all of the skins up to the top to form that cap, and you've got to press the cap down and circle it around. Although there's debates about whether you should do that. It's old world, new world winemaking techniques, and whether you just press the cap or not press the cap, and so you do all that. And we're doing it on quite a large scale, the group of about six of us coordinating stuff. And so everyone notes down all the costs involved for making it. And at the end...
Including time?
Not time, just items.
Yeah.
Because everyone's donating their time. But there is a note of your time. So if you've done a lot of time, you get more of the final product as well. So what happened is on bottling day, we bottled 2,000 bottles of wine or something like that. And we put them into boxes, because then you've got to go hunting for wine boxes. So you go into supermarkets picking out wine boxes and making your own wine stuff, and you do all this and you put it on the bottles, and we never labelled it. It was too much effort. So you put the labels or capped it, screw cappers or bottle corks, whatever we did, and we made all this wine. And then, Tim, you've done this amount of this. You're there for the bottling, you're there for the picking, you're there for the winemaking, you're for this and that.
You were there for the explosion.
Well, yeah, actually I wasn't there for the explosion, but I can only report that story. But and so then that means you get to take home 16 cases of Sauvignon Blanc.
Wow.
Okay, that sounds cool. Fill the car up. So the car is gunnels, full to the gunnels. There's no room there for passengers.
How's the suspension? Right low?
Yeah, totally low. It's not good. So we jacked that thing. It was great. So we go home and you get a fun place to put it, and you got to drink the damn stuff. That's tough, and you're not allowed to give it away because that's done. Well, you're not technically allowed to give it away or sell it, because that would denote that you should be paying tax on it. If you're making it for yourself, that's fine.
I never got a bottle of wine off you ever.
That's right. You never got a bottle of wine off me, and you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened, officer. But so
it's gone now.
But if you come into the room and I say, "This is my wine," crack the bottle open, I say, "Yep, have a glass. I'm done. Take the rest with you." Totally legit. Anyway, so we did. I mean, that was a big volume or so. And we don't usually do that. So usually we do a couple of barrels. We'd go around and pick at the posts. So a mate of mine used to be a vintner out in the Gimmick Gravels, and they'd pick to finish the harvest. And the harvest, they've met their tonnage they had to do. The trucks are full. They're gone. But there's half a row they didn't need to pick because they filled the truck already. Mm-hmm. So that just rots on the vines. So then they call the students up. Students, come to pick some wine for you, pick some grapes for your wine, and because they have to make wine part of the course. Or they go, yeah, let's do some wine. So we pick some wine and make it ourselves. And so that was just so much fun, and family days of making wine together, and there's lots of little things you've got to keep doing to keep it ticking along. And my last efforts, I was too distracted with kids and work, and I blew out 2 barrels of red wine without sulphuring it enough, because I just never got around to getting out to the garage to put the sulphur in and preserve it a bit longer, and it went off, and I blew 2 barrels. I was like, okay, now I have officially reached the point where I am too busy to manage the micro winemaking components, and it's time to let this pass. Yeah. And I'm only just running out of wine now, and that we stopped doing that like 5 years ago. Can't have been 5, must have been 4 years ago. So it's tricky, man. It's tricky because it does take work and time. And if you're doing other stuff, and I was really committed to my squash and the kids, and just never got. You get home at dark and it was black and raining. I was like, I'll do it tomorrow, and then I'd be back at work again. So I just had to recalibrate and drop out things that I couldn't fit in anymore. So, But there was a lot of fun making one.
Mm.
So we made red and white. White's tougher to make because you need to refrigerate it
Mm-hmm.
in the process. And if you don't have a refrigeration process, you're a bit killed out. So, but the red wine you can do in your garage. You need some, thermometers and some measurement tools and some sulfur and stuff. Some other bits and bobs. But, I had all the bits and bobs and I just got rid of it all because it's blocking the place up.
Allegedly, it tasted amazing.
Oh, yeah, no, it's amazing. We had such good success with it. It felt like this is really cool. We won an award.
Wicked.
We got a bronze medal
So how
at
does
the
that process
Brigado
go?
Wine Awards.
How do
Wine
you
awards?
Yeah, how do you get in?
You have to be able to demonstrate you've got as low volumes of because it can't go up against the big guys because you can't. There's no point getting the New Zealand Wine Awards when you can only sell 16 or 20 cases. If you do one barrel, you get about 20 cases, and 18 of them may be good. 2 cases.
So what would you have had to done to register to sell?
6. So you got to send. So you have to to sell. Oh, I don't know. Probably lots more. And because the moment you put a label on it, it denotes marketing and denotes excise taxes you should be paying and all that sort of drama. And I was like, no, we don't want any of that. We want to keep it for us. So we did. It was great. It was the family wine. People come over, we want to drink your wine, Tim. I'm like, yeah, sweet, we'll drink our wine. It was great. We got a lot of mileage out of that. It was a lot of fun. Sure, if you looked at the raw costs of it, it was like $4 that we had to put out of our pocket per bottle. Oh, there's not much. But the hours that went into it, the love, that's hard to measure, and people kind of forget that part of it because they're not out there in the cold mornings pressing the cap or facking around with bungee cords and pieces of plastic and making sure it's not getting infected with whatever. And you're like, oh, no one else is here, and I'm freezing my nuts off, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we kind of got a bit sick of it in the end. Well, not sick of it, just we did it for so long. Varying sizes of batches and numbers and all that through.
It was interesting at the gym tonight before we got started on. So we did some work. So we did warm up and some work, and then we did a little WOD to finish off, and it was it was demanding. And so beforehand, the person that was leading the class tonight, I hadn't had a class with her before, and she goes, "Time flies when you're having fun. I'm just hoping that this is going to make the time fly." And then she said, "And you know what? Don't have to be having fun to have fun." I said, "Yeah, that's what's called type 2 fun."
Type 2?
Type 2 fun.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, so it's especially common in people that go into the wild. Like I was talking last night with someone about how I don't understand trampers. Like I end up going tramping, but I'm there trying to find something. But
yeah,
that when I went to Tararua's, the hut that we went to share that with like 4 people, and then also meet up with these other guys that went on a massive loop around the Tararua's. And I was like, I don't know how you guys manage it, but they do. There's people like that just go out there, and that's their type 2 fun. But on the flip side, being out there, I'm doing the fun part, and then everything else is a bonus. So I semi-relate to them, but it's just not me. But yeah, type 2 fun is like really meaningful, purposeful, difficult things that give you huge amount of joy. And I guess the great thing about making wine is you've got a long period of things to show for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always think of
your Ironman is type 2 fun.
Type 2 fun. Like, yeah, it's that whole delayed gratification and understanding that do the good stuff now and you get the good stuff later, but you get the returns later. And I just felt like I had a whole lifetime of that. Every time I did an exam, I was like, is it getting me close to optometry or further from it? It just kept on going like that. So I was like, well, I'm not an optometrist yet, but I will be.
Yes.
I'm not a business owner yet, but I will be.
Yeah.
I'm not, we haven't got kids, but we will have. They haven't got this, but, I live in the future a bit too much sometimes. I really think I do, but I'm having
your
fun.
Visualization of what's possible.
Yeah, I'm so excited about all the ways we can make this thing work.
Yeah.
And there's just so many possibilities in the world. It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
But the type 2 fun sort of things. That's winemaking is a classic example of that. Even running, because I always used to play sports to get fit. I'm a squash player, and the problem with squash, I got to C1, and I'm loving squash, still love it. But C1, and to get to B grade, I really had to do some outside of squash court training and running. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I know you're a gym nut. I don't want to go to the gym. It's just not my level of fun that I want to go for. So I'd rather go and do squash or go mountain biking. I think that's cool. But I get it that some people don't do it that way. and that's okay. But so I was never excited about running. But when I had Ironman pinned on the target, I was like, oh, that means I've got to run. I'm running for that. And then I really enjoy the running.
Yeah.
Like I way more than I thought. I thought I'd get bored of running, but I haven't. I really enjoy it. In fact, I enjoyed all of it. Like, it's so good.
I found that the 6 hour mission, it wasn't that I wasn't enjoying myself. It just hurt.
It just hurt.
So it was still fun. And
Pain is temporary, pride is forever.
And then I did it as well, and that was really fun. Like, you were slaughtered, but you're like, holy cow, I just did that. The body's amazing.
The body is amazing.
You're like, my body's amazing.
Your body's amazing, man. I remember the day, like, oh, I'm going to run a marathon this weekend. I'm like, fuck. There's no one there to cheer you. There's no drink stations. You just got to nut it out. And I loved it because you were a fraction ahead in the running training program than I was with the way our timings worked. With your was it the 5th of Jan?
Oh, 9th of Jan.
Yeah. Sorry, I got that wrong several times. 9th of Jan for you.
And you originally, when were you supposed to do it?
6th of March.
6th of March.
Was the game day I was always gunning towards. And so our marathon prep times were different, and your training schedule was so much different with your hills you were doing.
Yeah.
I remember I was going up for a fun run up the peak with my mates, and you were running back up the peak, running down. I was like, damn, where'd you come from? I was like, oh, I went over there. I was like, jeez.
I think that was the day I did it twice, maybe.
Yeah. You've done it twice. Yeah.
And even then, that wasn't enough. Like, it was pretty amazing scale of a hill. But, was it enough? I don't know. Did it?
Yeah. Would you do it again?
Yeah, I'd do it again. I think I need to do a good couple of years of 30Ks.
Yeah.
Or like trail halves.
Mm-hmm.
So my plan is to do Poronui half marathon in November.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good. My mate Steve's doing that.
Yeah.
And Steve and Julie.
Beautiful place.
Sweet meals.
That's partly why I want to go, because like such a beautiful place.
It's not always available either,
no.
so you can't always get there.
It's pretty exclusive. Yeah,
yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Lisa was going to run that, but we didn't clash because we want to take the kids and do she's doing the Taniwha.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's somewhere in the Waikato. I don't know exactly. But anyway, she can run the off-road marathon, and I can do a 16k mountain bike with the kids.
Nice.
And get back in time to cheer her through across the finish line.
Yeah.
Which is the goal. I said, well, if you do these off-road ones, like, it's really hard to support you. You kind of have to. She said, oh, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
She's pretty strong.
Rotorua is pretty good like that too. Like, yeah. People from Southland, you don't really realise what's capable in Rotorua, And then actually, I haven't been back to the Queenstown luge since it got revamped, but prior to the revamp, my scale was Rotorua was way better. But the Queenstown one might have upped its game.
Are you talking about the Queenstown luge?
Luging.
I haven't luged in Queenstown. Oh no, I did it. No, sorry, take that back. I haven't luged in Rotorua for a few years. Did you ever get to do the off-road luge in Rotorua?
No.
There was a very small window of time when it was available because several people died. I think at least 2, maybe 3 people died.
Shit.
These guys engineered their own.
You can't keep doing that.
Yeah, they had to pull the pin. They engineered their own off-road luge and had it was basically the paddock next to the main luge.
Yeah, I got a luge bite. And we were in the garage a couple of days later, and the guy's like, "Oh, did you get luge bite, mate?" Yeah.
What's luge bite?
Massive graze down my elbow.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, I nearly died on those off-road luges, but we didn't realise how close to death we were. We got that was the best ever.
So what was it like?
Telling everybody you got to go to off-road luge.
Full drive tyre, or
forward by 4 wheels, like in a mini cage. I can't remember. Actually, I might be wrong. Jeez, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So good. My brothers and I did it.
Yeah.
Epic.
Is Zorbing still around, do you know?
Yeah, that's great. Have
you done that? No, it looks good.
Well, maybe. I thought, what a waste of time. Why would you Zorb? And so I did a first Zorb with my brother, Lisa, in the Zorb, in our togs, and he throws in a 10-litre bucket of water.
Yeah.
Hilarity. We were laughing the whole way down, cracking up laughing.
Can you steer it that well?
No, you can't steer nothing. You're just smashing around our bodies in the water. I would recommend a water luge with 3 people total in there. You'll just, honestly, it was hilarious. Very, very funny. I really enjoyed that. I'm not in a hurry to do it again, but I'm glad I've done it.
Yeah. Have you bungeed?
I was just going to say, there's minimal risk of retinal detachment in a water Zorb thing. But bungee jump, there's a risk of retinal detachment, I guess.
Yeah.
low-ish, maybe.
I think when I
I'm not interested.
it might have been a -1, so it was fine.
Well, you were only -1.
Yeah.
Well, I've skydived. Boulder, Colorado, actually. It was a great place to skydive. We saw the mountains, the Rocky Mountains rising up.
Yeah,
Very cool.
It's a vibe.
It was a really neat vibe. And I've always wanted to skydive, and we did it once. I was like, oh, that's cool, I'll do it. I got a bit excited. I thought I might get my own rig and get stuck into it, but
That's another thing people die from.
Skydiving? That's true. People die from cars, though.
Yes.
People die from COVID, though. I mean,
Yes.
apparently.
No, they do.
From cars.
3 million or something.
Oh, well, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Positive PCR tests, of course.
Yeah.
Not a, well, okay, well, it's not good there. But, skydiving. Skydiving will kill you.
Yeah. So it's going hunting. Like I say, driving the car, walking to work, living.
Yeah, hunting's risky, man.
Yeah. So it's swimming in the ocean like you're doing.
Okay, yeah, but there's less people shooting me.
Yeah, but there's more sharks.
That's true, there are more sharks. I bet there's some stats on that. I reckon hunting'd still be riskier.
Nah. You're not very likely getting shot. You might fall.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the worst. That's usually what the helicopter's going out there for.
Really, yeah, falling
Falls.
like down a cliff face.
Yeah. There was 2 early in the year. One was a tramper, one was a hunter.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they were both okay, but yeah, that's an impressive.
If you're not
chopper,
living
eh?
on the edge, you're taking up too much space. You know, life's for living. Get risky. Do something exciting. Get your adrenaline pumped.
Do an Ironman.
Well, do an Ironman if that's what you're doing.
So like,
It's not everyone's thing.
with the swim, like you said, you're now pretty hooked on swimming. Like,
Open water swimming.
yeah,
In a wetsuit.
like that's the first thing that comes up. Like you get your wetsuit on, you jump into Lake Taupo, and like, what's going through your head?
3.8. Well, what's going on in my head is don't drown.
You don't do
with
that.
with 1,000 other people swimming around you. That was pretty cool.
Are you going at the same time as those elite fellas?
They get
fellaces?
they get a 5-10 minute head start. 5-10 minute.
Oh,
head
so
start.
they do get it.
They get a head start, which even Cameron Brown was like, "Don't do that."
Oh, for real?
He's like, "Don't do that. Just start us all together."
Just put us at the front.
Yeah, we're gonna get there in the front anyways. What's the point? He didn't reckon it was worth it. I was like, okay. Pretty sure they'll be standing at the edge of the line and they'll be going the fastest. So, I mean, there's not many people in the non-elite sports people that will be able to swim as fast as them for that length of time. They might be able to hold it for a little bit, but the guns, they'll smash it.
And don't do that.
I mean, and even if there were the top 20 or 30 people out of 1,000 who are not the elites that could keep up with them for the whole swim, they don't care. They've done Kona, they've done all the other shit that's like so many more people swimming. And then there are 8 of them set off.
Oh, so...
Well, it was because of the whole Corona thing. There wasn't any international swimmers there for the elites.
Right.
Instead of there being 50 or something, there was only 8 elite men. They just start us at the same time. We're going to smoke everyone anyway. There's only like 6 or 7, was it 12 chicks? Anyway, that was, honestly, it was crazy.
Amazing. 9 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Hannah. Yeah. She's a great follow on Instagram, eh? Same likes Cameron Brown.
I'm pretty useless at following all of the... I mean, the people that I like following...
Don't do it, it's West Tom.
Yeah. Oh, following them?
Yeah.
Oh,
No. Following people like that is not a waste of time, but yeah, scrolling Instagram's a waste of time.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I tried it a couple of times. Like, this is not me. I don't even like Facebook. I don't do that. But swimming in the water was quite an experience. Like, it was clear water, so you could see. So it was a nice treat. And the first mouthful of water you get's not salty. That's a big deal. So that was really cool. And the water level in the lake was a bit lower than normal.
Yeah.
So at the start, I was actually able to be on tippy toes touching the water, to the bottom. And they said go, and they took off. 200 metres later, I started my watch. Oh, dick. The big cannon starts to race off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got excited.
Well, you have to press it twice to
right.
Anyway, so I managed to do that 200 metres into the swim, so I started my swim on my watch later. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. And then all you're really trying to do is keep swimming and not die and not drown. And don't stop because everyone will just swim right over the top of you. And if you're catching up with someone, try to swim around them. And you keep on someone's feet. And I think the Ironman was a real physical manifestation of the concept of the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. I cannot do any part of the run while the start gun goes off. I'm in a wetsuit. I just can't. You've got to swim. So you swim.
Yeah, that's not a concept I'd thought about triathlon or Ironman. that you can't worry about your run or your bike when you're trying to swim.
So the moment you do that, you cock your swim up.
Mm.
You got to keep breathing and looking and stroking and the whole thing. So you really have to be focused in the moment. It forces you to be really present. And that was exactly what everyone said. Make sure you enjoy the day. I was like, all right, I'll be present every second and I will just digest this whole Ironman from minute for the whole time.
Mm.
And I just mashed that out. I was like, cool, get out of the water, get your gear off, get the thing on, go on the bike, go. Focus on the bike, focus on the bike, focus on the bike. Don't fall off the bike. Keep biking, keep
Eat some
going.
food.
Eat food, keep the cadence right, keep going, don't die, all the rest of it. Oh, don't go too close to the guy in front of you because you get a penalty. So you do all that. There's so much to think about. And in fact, the bike's a chance for some quiet and some solitude.
Mm.
But it's not even that much time because there's so much to do. Honestly, it's a busy day. And
So
then you get on
when
the
you
run.
go around, are you on your bike? Are you able to get more aid? Or
Yeah, so along the way there's drink stations, or 2 or 3 drink stations each way. You go out to Reparoa and then back in again. So obviously you start in Lake Taupo, do the swim age at Lake Taupo, you swim in up the boat ramp, run up to the transition behind the Taupo Centre there, get in the tent, they do have guys and girls tent. You pick up your bag of transition gear, you go in, you change out of your wetsuit into your running gear, to the biking gear you need, and put your wetsuit in your bag, and then chuck your wetsuit or chuck your gear bag in a big pile with everyone else's gear and take off. At the end of the race, they'll have it sitting with your gear at the end of the next day, so that's not a problem. And you're off. You grab a banana on the way out, and you smash a bit of sunblock on. I put a bit of sunblock on. You got to remember to do that. And then your bike's carrying stuff and food and everything, so you're just eating and drinking along the way. Throughout the bike, I didn't take any food on. I had all my own nutrition on the bike because I was using Pure Nutrition. It's all vegan. I didn't want any of their foodstuffs that are...
The brand Pure?
Yeah, Pure Nutrition. Yeah, it was really good stuff and didn't have any gut problems. It was just perfect. So all I took on the water... What was the
solid food you were having?
During the day?
Yeah.
Well, I had some bananas. I had some nuts, nut bars and some...
Yeah.
What did I have? Yeah, just muesli bars and gels. I think that's about all I had. I had it all very well calculated and everything. And so you let a special stop at the start of the second lap on the bike. So I had timed it so I was able to just keep getting water for my water aspect. And my electrolytes, I knew I had enough in one bottle of my electrolytes to use half of it out to Reparoa. And by the time I coming back in, make sure I'd finished it before I got into town. You do the loop in town. And just before you head out on the second lap, there's a special station. So you pull over and get your specials bag. And in that bag, I had my electrolyte bottle that I switched over. So I had a full electrolyte bottle for that. And topped up a few extra gels. And I was away. So I managed to basically manage my whole nutrition on the bike myself. Bar a banana I grabbed on the way out of the tent. Or not even whole, just a bit of banana. And then I was off. And then on the bike, I got to this halfway through the last leg coming in. Had to pull over, take a piss. Like a massive piss because I was well hydrated. Because all I ever took at the aid stations was water. So this was really good. So I'd planned it and it worked out perfectly. So when I got into town, gave my bike away to the man and run. You get your next transition bag and you strip off your recycling bits you need to strip off and put your running shoes on.
Did you lose weight?
On the day?
Yeah.
A couple Ks.
Yeah.
But I didn't lose anything too far that meant I was in risk.
Yeah. So that was the interesting thing Noakes was saying about it. It was good to hear you took a piss. Because as we said, there's the odd person out there that doesn't take a piss and then they end up with hyponatremia.
All right, yeah.
I was like, that's scary.
Well, the run was different. There's 4 laps on the run, right? So they changed it. It used to be 2, and you go for miles out and miles back and miles back. And then they changed it to 3, and then this year they changed it to 4 for the first time, which was great because it meant that the length of the course was shorter and the supporters could get along and be... So there was no solitude on the run either. Yeah. So I was expecting all this quiet moments of depth and dark places, and I didn't get it. I was all...
You've done all that training for nothing.
Well, no, I've been in the dark places, so that it meant I discovered the
Train
darkness.
harder than you...
Exactly. So I felt like I really did all the right moves in the training. And so when I was doing the run, I took on... I had my race belt with nutrition on it, and so I was running with that, and I had those gels going on as well. So I was just grabbing water from the aid stations and the odd bit of banana, and then in the last couple of laps I started taking on flat Coke.
Once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, that's what they say, eh? So, I just
Run
put a
on
bit of
fumes.
that. Yeah, and it was good. I didn't hit the wall, but on the last lap, I thought I'll better take a piss because I really feel like I should. And by that time it's dark because our race started at 8, which is a couple of hours later than normally would. It started at 8, so by the time I was finishing around 9, it was dark. Because it was 3 weeks later, it was closer into winter as well, so it was darker. And I came to one of the toilet stops at one of the aid stations, and it's dark. I'm in this toilet trying to get the triathlon suit down, take a slash. It's messy, honestly. But I think most triathletes know that the toilets in the run, it's going to be tough, and it doesn't really, no one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably piss yourself while you're running, and they don't really care, but they frown upon it. They'd say don't do it. But anyway, whatever. It's just such a. I remember thinking, what am I going to do? When I went and cope with going to the loo. It's like, that's the last of your worries. It really is. Yeah. And I couldn't think about the run on the bike. In the last 20 minutes, as I was finishing the bike, I was like, okay, you're going to get ready for the run. You know what you have to do in the transition. Think about the moves that you've got to do. That's great. But, so, because you can muck it up. I mean, a guy came in ahead of me.
Even Mum said, like, for doing the swim for Challenge Wanaka, so half triathlon length, getting, so at the old course it wasn't too much of a run, and then the new course they were at Glendy Bay, and so they had a reasonable, like, 400-metre run. And she said, after swimming, what'd you do, 3.8, so
2.
Yeah, just under 2 Ks. I think they might have done 2 Ks actually for that distance. She couldn't run. She's like, I don't like running at the best of times, but this really couldn't run. Yeah. And so the same when you come off a bike, doing that circular motion to then recruit a whole bunch of different muscles.
I've done lots of training for that. So in my training program, I've done lots of run off the bikes, is what they call it.
Yeah. So you're doing a long ride and then go for a little bit of run. Yeah,
10, 8 campaign, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I was ready for that. And actually, honestly, I just felt like I nailed it. It's like, nice. I didn't break, and I came out of that run feeling like I was bouncing out the door for the run.
Yeah, and you're saying about the guy that was in front.
When I came into the transition, the guy snuck ahead of me on the bikes, and he got in a bit quicker than me. And I think my transition on the run to T2 is what they call it. I think it was about like 6. I think it was like 4. I think it was like 4 minutes, and he was like 10 minutes because he was facking around or something. I didn't know what he was doing, and then he eventually caught me past in the run. And then I must have passed him because I ended up coming in 15 minutes before him at the end because he had to walk and he just wasn't ready for it somehow. But the trick is to run your own race. And so all the way through that run, if you paired up with anyone, I was like, you just like, hey man, you gonna run? Yep, sweet. First time? Yeah, good, sweet. And you just run the same cadence together for a bit, and then one of you would slip forward or back, and you just carry on. It was nothing personal. It was
Don't
just
worry
like,
about it. Yeah,
everyone's just trying to do their own thing,
And so long, that you might see them again.
You might, and you might not. And I really thought I was going to see some of the people more often around the course, but you didn't. You just keep on going, doing your own thing. So no, it was a wonderful experience. And I remember running and the funny thing is when you start that marathon in the Taupo Ironman, when you're coming down, the first 3 or 4 Ks is downhill. So you're feeling super strong. I'm off the bike. I'm doing the marathon. This is great. My coach was biking alongside me at one point. He's like, dude, just hold this pace for the rest of the day. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm looking down 540s. This is not going to be holding the cases. No way. I said to him, yeah, that's sweet. I know what you mean. And what he really meant was try to find your cadence as quick as you can and settle in. But I knew I was feeling great and strong, and I was going downhill. And for the first 3 Ks, I knew I just let the body start running, remember what to do, and then worry about it. Because I'm not a pro, I'm just an amateur. So by the time I'd done the first turn, I was settling into more like 6:15s or 6:10s, 15s, 6:30s. And then by the last lap, I was doing close to 7 somethings. But I knew I was going to slow down by about 15 seconds per K per hour or so. And that's kind of what happened. And in that last 5 Ks coming home, I could not go faster. I tried going faster, and then that right internal adductor was starting to do that. I want a spasm on you if you go any faster.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I just had patellar tendonitis being like, ooh, every step, ouch, come downhill, great.
Going downhill was hard on the knees.
Yeah, no, it was good. So where does doing something like that, facing the adversity, come from? Because it's not normal, Tim.
Well, they say that, but there's a stack of people doing it with me.
That's a weird thing, eh? It's not normal, but you're there on the start line with a whole bunch of people.
With 1,000 people
You're
trying to do it, I'm like,
a whole bunch of
can't be
idiots here.
that not normal. Like, it's just not familiar, right? I mean, I don't know. I think I grew up in 1980s, baby, right? So grew up in the 80s and 90s, and there was that Nutrigrain Ironman, the kid eating the Nutrigrain thing in time. I said, Mum, I want that breakfast cereal. And I was like, okay, Tim did Ironman. And then my dad was watching Ironman. He goes, but this is just crazy. They do all this, and then they run a marathon. I'm like, that is crazy. Maybe that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it just sort of put it in the back there as a possibility, but something that's crazy. You know, I think that stuck with me for a while because I always thought to myself, I'm going to do a marathon one day. I just don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
And then beginning of last year in January, Lisa was down the South Island for a month doing a training course with singing, and the kids were with the grandparents at various weeks at a part. And I had some time to be just thinking to myself. I was like, maybe I should do a marathon. So I'm going to turn 40 this year, so maybe now's a good time to do a marathon. Okay, we'll do a marathon. Oh, maybe you should do that Ironman. I mean,
it's a marathon.
Does a marathon too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's do that. And so then I thought, well, to do that, I better go for a swim. So it took me, put the board shorts on, went down to the pool. Never gone down to the pool. I mean, the last time I was in that Havelock pool was in 1998, swimming sports in February. I won maybe 2 lengths. I didn't even know that the pool was 33 metres. I thought it was 25. It's 33 metre pool.
No, 33 and a third, in fact.
33 and a third, thank you very much. So you're actually correct.
It'll be yards, 33 and a third yards.
No, it'll be 33 and a third metres because that'll be
50 yards, 40 yards.
Either way, 3 lengths is 100 metres.
Right. Yeah, no, that's probably right. 33 and a third metres. Yeah. It'll be 50 yards.
So anyway, it took me half an hour in my board shorts to swim 300 metres. And well, before I got into the pool, I said to the it was just a 16-year-old chick lifeguard, you know, I was like, no, look here, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to have a swim here, and if I don't look like I'm making it, please jump in and save me.
So how did the lap go?
Slow.
What'd you do? You have to stop on the lane?
Halfway along the lap, I'm like dying of breath, choking on water, and the guy next to me is pumping up and down the lane like
Were
a pro.
Were you head down?
I don't know what I was doing. I was just trying to swim.
Yeah.
And I remembered some things, and I was doing it all wrong. I was breathing in and out my mouth. I was doing that all wrong. You know, I did some swimming with a couple of guys. I brought a wetsuit. The wetsuit, I brought the confidence up in the swimming pool with a wetsuit. I looked like a total douche going in the I was in Waipukurau on Wednesday nights doing swimming training, and I'm in a wetsuit,
steaming up.
Well, it wasn't too bad, but I was in a wetsuit, and these you know, the kids' swim classes next to me, these 12, 13-year-old kids in, you know, speedos and proper.
You don't
tops.
look at their programming either. You can't.
Oh my god!
On what time?
And they're just pumping up and down the lanes. I'm just like, oh my god! Here I am, some schmo in a beard with a wetsuit on, trying to swim in this pool inside. They're like, this guy's a total dick. I was like, you know what? I don't care what these kids think because I'm doing an Ironman.
Yeah.
So I just kept thinking, I was like, this is Ironman training. They're not doing an Ironman. They're trying to study how to be a 13-year-old. They don't know what buzz I'm on.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know what buzz they're on. I'm like, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, you were 13 once and don't need to be 13 again.
And when I was 13, I was not swimming. I did life swimming. What's it called? Life saving, and did the bronze medallions and all that sort of stuff. So there's all that sort of stuff, but only in the swimming pools, but not. Anyway, but the point was that I just warmed up on the wetsuit and got the knack of that. And then my mate says, oh, let's go to the Pandora Pond and I'll show you what a triathlon course is like. And so we swam that and he goes, oh, you did that in 26 minutes. That's pretty good for a 700 metre swim. I was like, because I was worried about the next triathlon coming up, 700 metre swim with a 20-something K bike and a 5K run. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so then I did it. And I did that little triathlon. So the half distance is what they call it. So the Olympic distance is like, is it 1.2K swim and a 40K bike and a 10K run. I think that's how it's like that. And so I did a half distance and I started off with that and did it. And on the 5K run, I was like, what have you done? This is hurting. Why do you want to do an Ironman? You'd have to run a freaking marathon after this. You're a nut.
Yeah.
Right? And I got into that and I was like, that's hard.
That's what I'm training.
So then, I just built up from there and did a couple of other events, and I did a full distance event. And then I did then COVID hit, and that was perfect timing for training for running and biking. and then I did what's it called, back paddocks, which is effectively a quarter Ironman distance in open water with a mountain bike and an off-road run, and that was horrible because I've been training all on the wrong gear.
Was that your three lapper as well? 3 lap run?
Yeah, 4 lap run.
Oh, that was a 4 lap run too.
Was it a 6 lap run?
Yeah, no, I think you might be right there. It might have been 6.
Either way, it was a horrible number of laps,
Yeah.
and it was not good. I didn't like that bit, and it really hurt. I was like, this is hard. And my triathlon mate, Robbo, he's like, come on, go faster, you're doing shit, get faster. It's a shit swim, it's a shit boy, go faster. I'm like, oh, sorry, Robbo, I'm doing my best. And anyway, I get to the end of it.
Good mates.
And he comes over and goes, actually you did really well. Everyone else who's really good said it was tough. I was like, oh, good.
Thanks, Robbo.
That made me feel a little bit better. Anyway, so then I did the Iron Māori in December, and that went well to plan, all to plan, really. I was very pedestrian in my transitions, I was just, oh yeah, I'll do this, and I really took my time because I just wanted to get the process right rather than the speed. And so I did the half Ironman in 6 hours and 2 or 3 minutes or something, and then they say double it and add an hour, and you probably need to add a bit more. I was like, okay, so 13 hours and 3 minutes and 36 seconds is a good result for my Ironman that I did. And but it means I've got to go back and get under 12. I've got to get 12 hours or less.
Into the 12-hour mark.
Yeah, that's the goal. So in 2 years
13.
I'll do it. 2 years I'll do it again. Because I used all the brownie points up to.
Oh yeah.
So this summer it's going to be more the kids. Cause they've been awesome. They're like, Dad, you're going to be an Ironman. You're going to do this and that.
That's exciting, eh?
So they were pumped, and so that they were part of the journey. And so on the toughest training rides for Ironman, I did a 170k bike ride and had to go off and do a 8 or 10k run off the bike. It was a dark day because I'd run out of nutrition on the ride, and I was run out of water, and came in off the bike, and I was not happy. I'd gone through dark places, and I was really glad to be off. And I sat on the couch and put the shoes on. The kid's like, Dad, you gotta go for a run now? Are you just doing for a run? I was like, yeah, I've got to go for a run. This is hard. Watch me do this. So I was tying my shoelaces. I said, this is discipline, and it takes resilience. This is not easy. This is what I'm trying to be an Ironman. Like, that's cool, Dad. That's cool.
Yeah.
So every opportunity was an opportunity to train and share the journey with them. Because what I really want to train on my kids is resilience, perseverance, and grit.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can do that, it doesn't matter if we miss if we miss anything in our training or the teaching of the children, if I just teach them grit, perseverance, resilience, we're winning. We're winning. And the goal is to obviously teach them financial intelligence as well. And if we can do that, mate, we're kicking goals.
Yeah. Well, that's what was so epic about Billy being there at the run, eh? It was like she'd be like, Dad, have you finished your run yet? Like, going along. No, not quite. Dad, have you finished your run yet?
Yeah.
No, not quite. And then it was like, it's like, yeah, you're finished. It's like, yeah, I did that. So it would be like, I don't know if it's something that she's going to remember at 3 years old, or not even 3 years old then, but... Did
you get a picture of you
we've
with her at the end?
Got pictures and videos.
She'll remember.
Yeah, so, yeah, it'll be a thing like, what were you doing there? Running 53Ks like an idiot.
Yeah. But she saw you do it. She'll know the picture. She'll be able to bring it back. And that is really... That's why we do these crazy things. I mean, I always say to myself, I'm working hard to earn the respect from the people that I respect. That's what I keep saying to myself. Just keep doing that. Because if I do that, the rest of it will come. The rest of it will work itself out. Funny thing, literally today, I was reading one of Marty, number one son's storybooks. And he wrote a story about how he went to Ironman. And for Dad's, Dad, we rode over in the car, we went to this cafe halfway across the Taupo. There was a funny thing about Murphy's Law on the thing, and it was this, and this, and the things to hear from his story, he'd written down. I read it, and I said, dude, this is awesome. And he told me about his experience through that of me going to Ironman. I was like, wow, that's winning. We're doing all right. Yeah. Because we're doing this whole home education thing, which is a bit weird. Everyone thinks we're nuts. And maybe we are, but they get to see that. Yeah. It was like, yeah. So yeah.
School's a hard one.
I was stoked when I heard that Billy was going to be there for your race, though, because I was like, oh, that's really good. That's
Yeah,
really
it
good.
was wicked.
Even because she was little. She's
She's
still little.
2 months off 3.
Yeah, she's still little. But they remember that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember stuff. I remember way back. But
Yeah, and like you say, with photos, like
it boosts that memory.
I think I remember winning the Rugby World Cup in my backyard when I was like 2 and 3.
Fantastic.
There's also photos, so
Yeah, that's awesome. Who are you playing?
I don't know.
Aussies.
Yeah, so 91. Yeah, I was probably playing the Aussies, but All Blacks won in this occasion.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, well, anytime we beat the Aussies is a good time.
Yeah,
Love the Aussies.
so
Love beating
I
them.
don't even know if the All Blacks were in that final. Don't know. I was too young. I was 2 years old.
You were winning whatever you were doing.
Yeah, I was winning, and then
Yeah.
my brother changed to playing soccer, so then I started winning the Soccer World Cup. Don't know if I was the All Whites then.
Didn't we get into something?
Yeah, no, that was like
99.
89.
Oh, 89 we got into something, and then didn't we more recently get into as well?
Yeah, that was good. That was good fun.
That was cool.
Unbeaten.
Right.
Didn't get through the next round though, but that's all good. It was what a journey.
Journeys.
All Whites. Mate, so people come along to Shattky's.
Oh, yeah.
Russell Street South.
Yep, 116 Russell Street South.
Yeah.
Shattky Optometrists. For simply great vision.
Yeah, that's Greg Lincoln, back to the start. Great product there.
Yeah, he's a champ.
It's
We
good,
did
good
well
content.
with this. Yeah, we did really well. I'd be amazed how I didn't really even prep that much for it.
Mm.
And that first one with the frames, I did it on the first take. Just because I knew what I was talking
Good
about.
content and good talent.
Yeah, well, I always say when you're lacking in content, beef it up on presentation.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was good. Yeah, so there is a Instagram page for Shattky's,
Yes, there is.
and they can see your mug.
Oh, the Ironman mug.
No.
We should check that
Your
out.
face. Yeah,
Oh, the pretty face. Yeah, right. Yeah, great.
get in the
The
stories.
talent.
Tim's mug, Tim's medal,
That's it.
Ryan's medal.
Yeah, we should got to get that in there. Well, you're in charge of our Instagram face. Oh, I don't know.
That could be a job on Monday.
Yeah.
Chuck some stories up. Yeah. So you've had to go through dark places and carry on and get yourself to an Ironman and complete an Ironman, and getting into business is not easy, and as we said, our job's fantastic, but it's also very energy intensive. What keeps you flowing along, Tim?
What keeps me flowing along?
Can be quote, idea, way of life.
I think that, what I said before about working hard to earn the respect from the people that I respect, that's a big driver for me. And making the people happy, I love that.
Mm. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's just, I just know that the more people I make happy, the more successful I'll be.
Brilliant.
So just keep making as many people happy as you can. Give them what they want.
Sweet. This has been really fun, Tim.
Thanks, Ryan.
Glad we got to do it on the gear.
Yeah, man, this gear is awesome. You've done great getting it set up. I'm totally impressed.
It's good fun.
Yeah, man.
We'll call it.
Okay,
Wicked.
call it.
Home to the whānau.
Yeah, bingo. Thank you.